Are you dealing with a personal injury? Don't go it alone. Turn to the experienced team at Phillips Law Firm. Their attorneys have helped thousands of clients get the compensation they deserve. Call Phillips Law Firm now. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Therapy is known to be extremely helpful. But have you ever tried eavesdropping on someone else's problems? Listen to the new podcast, Say More with Dr. Sheila, starring Amy Poehler as the world-renowned self-proclaimed couples therapist.
My mother will come over when she says she will. Knowing that she's always going to be there is really nice for me because I don't have to make my own cereal.
Listen to Say More with Dr. Sheila on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
And away we go. Welcome to season 18, episode number 3961. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. Montgomery! And you are the men's room. On tap today, the return of Who Sucks Less. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, the men's room shot of the day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
Click, clack.
Bring it down. All right, here we go. U.S. Coast Guard arrests Florida man trying to run across the Atlantic Ocean in a hamster wheel. Meanwhile, when the groom runs away on your wedding day, it was the father-in-law who made the bride squeal. Seattle ranks high on the list of cities to survive a zombie attack, which is like walking on third if you like crack. It turns out Bob Barker died because he was 99 years old. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, as of today, the overwhelming percentage of school-age people in the United States, they're officially back at school. That's right, moms. Time to pour vodka into your mouth straight out of the bottle and change the batteries in your sex toys because the kids are gone. You got all day. Now, leading up to this moment, you have no doubt bought the crayons, glue sticks, markers, ink pens in blue or black because red, Miles, would not be accepted. Number 2 pencils, preferably Ticonderoga, but you're not obligated to that. Composition notebooks, wide or college ruled, depending on the grade. Binders, scissors, pencil cases, which is new to me, etc., etc. Now, that's in addition to the new clothes and the shoes that they'll all grow out of by Christmas. But we do all of this so kids can start the school year right. And that's actually a good thing because, according to a new survey, kids are real self-conscious when it comes to school. The main concerns are their weight, their hair, and their teeth, and let's not forget, acne. But to be fair, that's probably not much different than the average adult, what we worry about. Unless, of course, you have kids going to school. In that case, parents' top concerns about sending their kids back to school included academic performance. Although I always argue, look, I don't care what your grades are. I just need to know if you're stupid or lazy. Overscheduling, which is not the kid's fault. That would be on you as a parent. Making friends, and, of course, bullying. And then there's the teachers who have their own worries and concerns at the beginning of any new school year. I mean, like, will my students like me? Are the parents going to be intolerable a-holes? Can the students smell the booze on my breath? I mean, these are the important questions that everyone has. But today is the men's room goes back to school day. And we're not talking about your first day of school. We're just saying we're revisiting all those days of school that we've all had. Whether you're the parent watching your kids or you're the kid suffering through another long day of school. So today's question is good or bad? Why was it a memorable day at school?
Be a part of the big show. Call 206-803-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send us those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
99.9 KISW.
Oh, but tell us, away we go. Welcome to Season 18, Episode number 3,961. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeats. Exciting return of Who Sucks Less. Steve, every week you bring us 3 stories from the news. I don't know how you find people doing bad things.
It's hard, man.
But every week you come up with 3 stories of people who are just not nice. And we pit them against each other to figure out of the 3, which one sucks the least. How brutal is it this week on Who Sucks Less?
I mean, it's not exactly brutal, but we're calling this week's edition the Who's Who edition. So, identity theft is out there. It's just some people a little more gruesome about how they go about pretending to be someone else. And then in one case, a person who is just who they are, but they share a name with someone who's famous, and that famous person is making it difficult for them to just have their own business.
What else do we have for you? Too Much Show as more Men's Room every Monday through Friday, exclusively on Odyssey. And the Odyssey app. If you don't have the Odyssey app, download it now. It's absolutely free. You'll find
At Casper, we want you to have it all, especially when it comes to your sleep. So we went ahead and made everything on our site up to 50% off. Yeah, for real. Even our innovative, extremely comfy mattresses, yep, they're up to 25% off. Adjustable bed frames, 50% off. Pillows, sheets, bedding bundles, and that super cute dog bed, it's on sale. It doesn't get much bigger than this. Visit Casper.com or a store near you through October 24th to save on everything. Exclusions apply. See Casper.com/promo.
Find all things Men's Room in one location. That would be the Men's Room page. All of our podcasts, from Ted's Megacast, The Podcast, The Greatest Story Never Told Podcast, our daily podcast, if you happen to miss the show, the Men's Room radio channel, which is just us getting able to pick a bunch of our favorite tunes and throw them together. Been listening to that bad boy for about a week and a half now. Smooth as ever.
It's weird, man. I mean, like your mood goes up and down. You get some country things in there, and now I have Dr. Hook stuck in my head.
Green beans,
Yeah, green beans
cuts in there, man.
There are some cool. I want to say we have one of your cuts, Ted, as best I can guess. And then we hear like this drum beat. Not quite sure what the song is. Green beans. Like, oh my God.
That's me. That was my pick, yes.
By the way, brand new The Podcast and a brand new Megacast.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
On the Odyssey app. And of course, there's also the Men's Room Happy Hour channel. Now, here's the good news. That channel is now playing 24 hours a day. So if you go there and listen now, it's playing repeats of segments of the Men's Room show. But when we go live at 6 o'clock, you'll hear exclusively the Men's Room Happy Hour. There is a reason that channel is labeled explicit based on the fact that our language and content matter, is a little bit different.
Not right now. Although somebody did email in, and they had some good suggestions. And I have not listened to the channel itself playing the replays of the show. But I guess based on what they're saying in the email, it's not playing like full replays of the show.
Must be playing like segments or something.
It'll play a segment. And they just said, so they're listening to a segment, they're laughing about it. Obviously, they knew we took a commercial break. When we came back from that commercial break, we would still be talking about that segment. But no, I guess
they moved on.
It just goes to a completely different thing.
All right. It's up there. It's a hodgepodge of crap. It's all in one place on the Odyssey app. And join us hopefully for the Men's Room Happy Hour. By the way, tonight we get back to NFL picks. First game of the season. That's tomorrow afternoon when we're on the air.
Guess what it is, Ted? Top of mind. Come on.
The first game of the season, is that the Chiefs?
At home against
Titans?
Nope. NFC upstart. People think they're going to be pretty good this
Lions.
season. Lions.
Detroit Lions. Correct. That's right.
Oh, you know what?
They get to start in Kansas City. I think the Lions will be decent this year, but I'm like, damn, man, you got to start your season in KC, defending Super Bowl champ.
That's right.
Have fun with that.
So our defending champion would be our own Mike Hawk. He kicked ass last year on the NFL picks. Mike decided, you know what? I want to go back to school, so he went to third grade today just to see
if he can get invited to a birthday party.
Catch up, or maybe get invited to a birthday party. But we already have his picks, so Mike's got his dialed in. We'll pick us our own coming up tonight with the Men's Room Happy Hour, exclusively on Odyssey.
Since Mike's not here, I can't be the only one that was so annoyed he was so good at that last year.
It irritated the piss out of me. It really did, man.
Well, because I'll explain simple football stuff,
X's
and he won't know it.
X's and O's every day. He doesn't know any of it.
I think it's better that way.
I do too.
I know, and then he's talking about the refs. That's why by the end of the year, I was like, all right, Mike, you win.
Because every time we made a pick, we justified why we're picking. Well, this guy's been hot, blah, 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 threw so many passes, quite frankly, their offensive line, blah, blah, blah. Mike's like, I like purple, I'm going Vikings. And sure enough, the Vikings win. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, Mike's got the day off. Thank you, Kevin from Metal Shop, for coming in here and taking care of our listeners. We appreciate that. He's manning the phones. and giving us all the technical support we need, hopefully, to get through this thing today, because Steve and I are no help.
No, we're not.
We are no help. So we can't do crap.
I'm running the board here.
Ted's
smooth at the beginning, man.
The wheels of steel.
Well, emails will be fun.
What would Kevin be doing right now if he's not here? I know he's got another gig, man, but what did we take? We're like the harp store?
Harp strings, yeah.
I think he strings stuff.
He sure does.
I don't think he's listening to us either.
Probably
the man who hosts Metal Shop strings harps.
And he probably works at that harpsichord store.
Oh, the accordion store.
The accordion store on the side. Sure, all those things and more.
Well, it's a metal harp.
It's going to be a good day today, sure. And as you said,
for a metal brunch.
I know your kids started school yesterday, but the majority of kids are back to school today.
Man, oh man. Let me tell you a quick times change. So Monday night, right? They know they have school starting on Tuesday. You guys excited? No. Get up yesterday. I woke up at like 4:30 in the morning. Couldn't go back to sleep. Got out of bed at 6. Normally, you have to do everything you can to get the kids up. Yesterday, first day of school that they don't want to go to. They're very clear about that. Daughter's up by 6:05, fully dressed, ready to go, which in the history of my daughter, that has never happened. Son pops out of bed at 6:45, hops in the shower. He's fully dressed, ready to go. They're raring to go. He wanted to leave at 7:40. It's like, bro, we don't need to leave until like 8:05. Calm down. Get him to the school. Before I could turn around to say, like, hey, have a good day, both back doors are open and they're out.
Right.
I mean, they're gone.
Right.
They're playing. So I'm like, okay, good. We're starting on the right foot.
That's positive.
Sat down for dinner last night. That was school. Great. They ran through it. Teachers, new students, all that stuff. Today, come on, guys. Time to get up. I don't want to get up. Come on, man. I'm like, already?
Yeah.
Already. In 24 hours, you've lost all of your excitement for school. In fact, both of them left in a horrible mood this morning. I got one of these. I'm like, hey, guys, have a good day at school. Their response, bye.
Yes.
Okay.
So from about the time that I was 12 years old up until the time that I left my parents' home when I was 18, I was required to have a summer job. Now, is that me cutting grass in the neighborhood? I did that a couple times. I took a bunch of different jobs. But as the years went on in my schooling, the more I believe I appreciated going back to class. And here's why. I absolutely hated it. I counted down the days because, man, you can still go to the pool on the East Coast. You can still get in the water.
It's still hot.
It's still summertime. Football season's coming around. But as you are involved in sports, when I played football, it was maybe a week or at the beginning of August, we would start two-a-day practices. You could not just go into two-a-day practices without running, without working out. So you did all the summer weightlifting. You kept the job. You were busy that whole time. But then when August came around, it's still 100 degrees. Now you have two-a-days where you're going every single day for 2 different practices. And basically early on, it's tackling, it's hitting, it's conditioning. And I mean, it's nonstop. I mean,
that's all it is.
Every practice is, ouch, I'm throwing up. I just ate lunch.
Right.
I just threw it up. I barely could get it down because I was going to throw up after the first practice. Now I ate it. Now I'm going to throw up again. Guys bent over, wind sprints, you name it, running stairs. I hated it.
I would throw in chub rub.
Chub rub. You stink. You've had 2 days of practice. It's hotter than hell. You can't keep fluids down. You bring jugs of juice that are full of sugar just to rehydrate your body. And back then it was like this. Okay, 8 seconds at the water fountain, guys. You get 8 seconds. 1,001, 1,002. And it's just like, no, you need to but this was the theory back then. Now it's like, no, you need your ass rehydrated.
Right.
Then it was like, you get 8 seconds of water and that's it. Now get your ass back on the field. So I absolutely...
Or you're sitting in the one tree of shade. Don't blow the whistle. Don't blow the whistle.
I absolutely love
That was me.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. Like, you get into a 2-minute offense and, if you don't score a touchdown or you don't kick that field goal or whatever the goal is at the end of the practice, you run.
Right.
So you're begging Montgomery not to throw a pick into the end zone because if I can complete the pass, then we don't have to do cardio at the end. Not like we normally would. If I don't complete the pass, everybody hates my guts. If I hit the guy in the chest and he drops it, everybody hates his guts.
Right.
If the kicker misses the field goal, we hate his guts. It goes on and on and on. And look, the defense could pick the ball off in the end zone, run the other way. We still run.
Right, exactly.
That's not celebrated. Defense playing well is not celebrated. It's just we're going to punish the offense. Yeah. All you pieces of crap, we're going to run. And
have you seen the new one they're doing?
It sucked.
The new one they're doing is have linemen try to field punts.
Oh, come on.
I mean, it's just
Why?
It's so
It's
unrealistic.
just what you do at the end of practice. There's always some gimmick to see if you're going to do extra conditioning or not.
Why don't you have a kicker try to tackle a running back in Oklahoma's? I mean, that's the equivalent of that.
That's right.
I mean, that just makes no sense to me. But when you went back to school, now it wasn't 2-a-day practices anymore. And I actually was so relieved that, you go to after-school practice, and that was an abbreviated version. You still hit, you still ran, you still do.
But you're installing stuff, too.
Yes.
You're putting in play.
For that week's game against this certain team.
Yeah.
There's film time. There's other things other than running your ass up and down the field for the entire day. So by the time I got to high school, I'm like, thank God I'm in biology class. And I know you still had to do homework and all those things, but it wasn't throwing up outside, running up steps and hills and all this crap that you had to do. And so when I was excited, just because football practice was over. It wasn't over every day. It was just not all day long crap.
Right.
So, I mean, and now there's chicks around. So instead of just hanging out with your
It's because you went to school where you did. If you saw the chicks in my high schools in Baltimore City, you would not think that. And by the way, I'm not being mean. I'm actually being kind by not giving apt descriptions of what these people look like. I mean, it was staggering. So, you get real machismo in high school, man. If you're a dude, you know what I mean? This is go time, man. I'm swinging for the fences. I didn't. There was no reason. I'm like, what? Because I can land that? There's no case. Now, you would go to a party with Mercy High School, the Catholic all-girls school in Baltimore City. Those girls were down. Then you got a little machismo. But in high school, it's like, it's not worth it.
No.
The last thing I want is for any of these chicks to ask me out.
Right. I mean, look, you can take the chicks out of it because I went to an all-guy school. Miles is right. So there is very few awful feelings in the pit of your stomach as early August or mid-August, humidity, heat, and driving to that first practice.
Right. So
and he's got to put it lightly. Like, that first practice, I don't even know if you do. I mean, granted, I was a lineman, so I never touched football. So, I mean, you barely do anything except just sprint, stations, and then go hit each other, run some more, hit each other, and run.
My head coach was also a mental specialist as far as how he would get in your head. And in a small town, the local newspaper actually covers high school sports. High school sports are kind of a big deal. They're on the radio, they're in the newspaper and all those things. And people still get the newspaper there. They still have local sports writers, believe it or not. Probably the same size staff as the damn Seattle Times.
Right.
I mean, seriously, they got 4 or 5 guys on their sports staff covering college football, high school football, and everything else in between. Well, when they previewed the schools and the high schools who were supposed to do well, we were one of those schools. But if, say, a guy named Mitch Vingle, he would write an article and he'd say, well, University of Ohio will be okay if Miles could stop throwing interceptions. Montgomery threw 18 touchdowns last season, but he threw 17 interceptions.
Right.
And if he can just stop throwing to the other team and they can keep the ball, in their own possession without him making mistakes, the Hawks have a chance this year. He would put that on my locker in the hallway, highlighted and tape it.
Right.
Then anybody who on my locker, not in the locker in the locker room, on my locker in the hallway, and people would be standing there reading this stuff because they knew.
Hey, Miles, you see this?
Yeah, exactly. Could you stop throwing interceptions this year? How about maybe not throwing to the other team on Friday night? So it's just like this constant mental war that he would put on, and he would put all that stuff in the locker room too.
Sure,
would highlight all the things. Anybody, their defense sucks. He'd highlight it. They didn't say that, but they're like, Hawks had one of the worst defenses last year in
layman's terms, they suck.
Right,
but as a journalist, let me use all these words.
But by the way, our offense was our defense.
Right.
We didn't have 2 separate teams. You know what I mean? They just the offensive tackle went on to the other side and played defensive tackle when we lost the ball. So it wasn't like they were
fullback's the linebacker.
It's the same crap.
You hear it all the time now.
Defensive ends.
He played all fullback and you
just mirrored linebacker. You basically just mirrored your position.
Yeah.
So if you're a D-back, you're a wide receiver.
Yeah.
If you're a safety, you're probably the running back. Blah 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 blah. Basically, the entire team was out there the whole time.
Yeah, of course.
But God Almighty.
Yeah, but you got to the first day of school, it was almost a relief.
It was absolutely a relief. The last day that I ever played in a football game was in a playoff game in Charleston, West Virginia, and we lost to the team that eventually won the state championship. This team absolutely kicked our asses. I mean, it was a close game. It was like 13-9, but that was not reflective of the pounding that we took on the field and just how brutal this team was. And I remember walking off the field, and my buddy Craig, he's almost in tears. And I'm about ready to join him. I'm like, we're never going to have to do this again, man. This is it. No more headaches. No more waking up and not being able to see. We are done. We are done. And then Craig would like start wrestling.
Of course.
Like 1 week later. And he'd be like, God, I hate that more. That sucks. The hardest thing I thought about, high school was just the fact that all the extracurricular activities that you wanted to do, all the homework that you needed to do, then just going to school, man. It was tough being that young and having that big of an itinerary all the time. Even now with just homework with kids. My kids, man, they would get so frustrated they wanted to cry. Because just some topics just did not sink into their heads.
And that's every kid. I mean, there's something you're not going to get. My daughter told me this morning. I mean, this is this morning, man. It is about 8:10. She's about to walk out the door in her bad mood. And all she says is, in the monotone voice that she uses, math is my first class or first period. You got to take it at some point. It's not the end of the world. I pray to God we don't have homework. I said, man, they're going to give you homework. You're in 7th grade now. Like,
yes.
There's all... And I gave her a stat, and I said, this is awful, and you might not like what I'm going to say, but look, do not go in there with that negative-ass attitude because it's going to be self-fulfilling. If you're going negative, it's going to be negative, guaranteed. That's something you've decided to do. If you're going with a positive attitude, well, it's 50-50. It still might be an awful experience, but you got to fight each other.
Not only that.
Could you tell her, like, hey, look, at least it's out of the way?
Sure.
I mean, you try that, but her perspective is, I don't want to begin with that. And I get it, right? Like, she hates math. It's just not her class. It's fine. But I'm like, you got to take it at some point. But do not go in sulking about it already. By the way, this is your first full day of school. You had a half day yesterday, which is stupid to me, but whatever. I don't call the shots on that. But today's your first full day. I'm like, it's school. You know what school is. You're 7th goddamn grade, man. It's the same crap. I'm sorry you start with math. That's just how it's
like high school. You do not from a social standpoint, mature all the way, but you're a little bit more obviously mature than you were in middle school, junior high, whatever you went to. But from the time that I was in 3rd grade to the time that I was in 9th grade before I went to high school, it was just not only do you have a backpack full of crap, not only are you carrying a musical instrument home, you're going to get in a fight 2 days out of 5. I know exactly who is waiting to get in a fight with groups of friends.
Sure.
And you're always going to be pulled into this fight, whether it's directed at you, one of your friends.
One of your friends will call you into it.
Right.
Hey,
so
Steve,
if it wasn't,
Steve, so-and-so's talking smack, and it's like, so-and-so's like 3 years older than us, but
That's
I'm
exactly
obligated to...
You got to help them.
Because now we're both going to get punched in the face. Cool.
There was a group of kids that would drive to the junior high. Now, in 9th grade, you're not old enough to drive. They would drive there just to kick our asses.
Right.
Just to beat us up. They were like 1 or 2 years older than us in high school, and we had beef in the neighborhood for whatever reason, whatever the crap was. But you're always like up against it's like David versus Goliath.
Yeah, I know, every time.
Because kids grow fast. So these kids are like men, they got mustaches and they're driving Camaros and, we're just like riding our bikes to school and getting in a fight with these guys like every day. I was like, this sucks. This absolutely sucks. Your heart was palpitating all day.
Yeah.
If you're the target.
Because they told you by first period, hey, I'm going to beat your ass after school. Can you just do it now?
And the high school kids got off earlier. So they would be there waiting. Because their school ended like 3.
I mean, that's the way it is as an adult. Right? Like, I did that boxing match. The hardest thing is setting a time to go fight somebody.
Right.
Most people as an adult, you get in a fight, it's an adrenaline dump, you're in a bar.
Yeah. You didn't know what was coming.
Yeah, on October 27th.
Right.
Yeah, but you're sitting all
7:30.
You're just sitting all day stewing in it. Like, oh, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
Our question, good or bad, why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
The Men's Room on The Rock. Brought to you in part by 99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Only a few days away. Men's Room World Tour in Bremerton. Stop number 5. The 884 pub. We're going to see you heading on over across the pond. Let's go. For a little beer, food, and music, please join us for the Men's Room World Tour. Our first stop ever in Bremerton. And stop number 5. We're going to be hanging out from 3 until 6. College football is going to be on.
Yes, sir.
We're going to have some Men's Room Original Ale, Men's Room Original Sausage from Wooley's Famous Sausage, Men's Room Roasted Red Salsa. We'll play some live Big Dummy, Dirty Big Dummy, Ted versus the FCC. Hang out in the sunshine, drink beers.
It is supposed to be a nice day that day, I
It's
believe.
supposed to be nice on Saturday. So
It looks like the nicest day of the week.
Yes.
That is what I'm saying as well on my Doppel radar, Ted.
Good call. It is absolutely free if you're 21 years of age or older. All the details, directions, and information at KISW.com. But hopefully we'll see you Saturday at the 884 Pump in Bremerton. It's going to be a good time.
Did you switch it up both times this time? I thought
You know what? I'm doing it now, too, because I was plugging it on the podcast last night. I called it 884, and I was like, damn it, I'm turning 884. I was like, Miles is in my head.
884.
Like I say, here's the beauty. No matter which one of those you Google, the same location.
Correct. But I know we have some people already going. Got a couple messages, a couple of my Sounders friends.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, they're already
if you're over there. If you're over in the Bremerton area, it's a hell of a lot easier to see us there than it is to get on a ferry or do whatever the hell you do. So hopefully we'll see you at the 884 Pub this Saturday from 3 until 6 for the Men's Room World Tour.
884 Pub.
Yes, that's right.
884 Pub.
Our question, good or bad, why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
Got a couple of texts here. It says, my elementary school was really close to a key bank, and the key bank would get robbed at least once a year. We'd have to go into lockdown. Well, we went into lockdown drill when the earthquake happened in 2000, so we were already under the tables and digging for cover. I was in 4th grade. That's comfortable. What's scarier, the fact that there's an earthquake and you live in a place where you know there's going to be earthquakes, or the fact that once a year you have to lock down because someone robbed the frickin' bank?
Or anything. I mean, the active shooter drills, all those things. I mean, I never did the tornado thing growing up where I grew up. Never did earthquakes. We did not do that type of. We did fire drills.
Did you have the civil defense drill? The civil defense drill.
No.
So we did. Everyone does fire drills because no matter where you are, there's fire, right? But the civil defense drill. This was during the Red Scare, as it were. So everyone was convinced we're going to exchange nuclear bombs with Russia, and so they would do these drills to prepare us for it. And look, I was a kid, but I'm still like, I don't think this works. So the idea was, the fire drill, you left the building. The civil defense drill, in case were nuked, because God knows Russia was coming after Rochester, New York. That top target. You got out of the classroom and you faced your locker and put your hands behind your head as though cops had guns on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And I remember we're all asking the teacher, we said, all right, man, like, let's say a nuclear bomb does detonate in Rochester. What does that protect us from? Basically, it just says we won't see the flash that's going to kill us. We've been learning about radiation standing in front of our locker. Pretty sure doesn't matter. You might as well keep teaching or send us out for recess. That was a stupid drill. The kids, my kids now, and I hate this, but they have to do the active shooter drill. Yeah, because no one will do anything about it. So, it's a legitimate thing to be concerned with. It's all the rage right now. But they'll come home and tell me about it. And their look is a lot different than mine. Fire drill, you're like, whatever. If there's a fire, we'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. The nuclear bomb drill, I'm like, don't sweat it, dude, you're going to die. So that wasn't a big thing. But the active shooter drill, I'm like, God damn, man. So they run down all the things they have to do. And they're asking me, like, did you have to do that? And I'm like, no. And when I went to high school, there were 2 different kids shot in the school. It just didn't make national news because nobody cared because of where we lived, right? But there was no that's an honest-to-God statement. There's no drill with it. Mm-hmm. I feel bad that you guys have to do this.
My high school, you went across the parking lot onto private property. So you were not on school grounds anymore. And I don't know how your relationships were with the higher-ups in school, but mine were like this. The vice principal was the chief disciplinarian for the most part.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you made it to the principal's office, man, you really effed up. He was the vice principal, the first line of defense. If you were past that, that means parents are coming in. There's a bigger discussion.
And you're in trouble if you got to go to the principal's office.
Exactly. So fire drill goes down. The area that we're supposed to go into is across the street onto that private property to stand across from the parking lot from the school. The vice principal is out there, and one of the girls I knew in class, she comes out with her purse. I knew she smoked Newports or Salems, whatever she smoked. We're in the smoking area, so I fire one up because I know it's going to take 10, 15 minutes anyway to get back in there. I'm a junior in high school. I know I'm not supposed to smoke, but they, as far as dipping and chewing.
You had a smoking section.
We had a smoking section.
Right. I mean, it's hard to say don't
so
smoke.
I light one up, and Mr. Forrest, the vice principal, goes, Miles, are you really smoking during a fire drill? I'm like, Mr. Forrest, look at that building. It's all concrete block. I said, the floors in there are tile. Our roof is made of metal. I said, what is going to catch on fire? Somebody's homework? I said, the lockers are metal. The bathrooms are porcelain and tile. There was literally, I'm not kidding you, there was no drywall on the inside. It was all painted cylinder block.
Right.
That's just how they made the schools in that era. When it was on the outside, it was brick. But on the inside, it was nothing but concrete. Maybe a drop ceiling could catch on fire.
Maybe.
Other than that, I was just like, and they all had sprinkler systems and everything else. I'm like, Mr. Ford, what is going to burn down? And he's looking at the building. He's like, I don't know. We still got to do this.
Right.
I'm like, well, I'm going to smoke.
That's fair.
Sorry, my bad.
I always liked the fire drill because it ate up class time.
I am right there with elementary school. I didn't care so much. Elementary school, you're not really doing anything, even though you think you are, but you still kind of have fun. But high school, man, like when you had a fire drill, you're like, thank God. Thank God. And you always hoped it'd be during the class you like least. So if you're going to have a fire drill, I'm like, come on, algebra. Come on, baby.
No,
we're going to have a fire drill. Do it now.
In the student and the teacher smoking area, one of the teachers had brought in, there was always a Folgers can filled with butts. They just don't want you littering over there.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Just throw your cans in the butts in the can, and we'll call it a day. Like that was basically the rule. Just don't litter if you're going to go over there because it's private property.
It's private property. Sure.
So, there was one, like DeMatha now, like when I got there was a newer wing from the old building.
Yeah.
And then we had like the trailers in the back. So now the school's gotten much bigger, right? Like they have their own athletic gym and stuff, but like we don't have football fields or nothing. But there was one teacher in one of those side buildings, and if you were over 18, you could throw a lipper in during class.
Yeah. All right. Hey, why not? You're an adult.
I mean, hell, we had a health teacher that had to give you, speeches about smoking and stuff. He would do a whole, 35-minute class on dipping with the dipping.
And I should know. I'm getting cancer. He did a class on dipping.
Can you feel the burn?
With the dip.
He's not there anymore. He was mainly that he had been a quarterback there. Right. He was there to coach football. He taught health because he had to do something.
Had to do. Yeah.
He did not care.
No. Gym teachers taught health. And then I like this guy. It says, I just started a new school. And on the third or fourth day, I ripped one so loud in the middle of English class, it sounded like an effing machine gun. Well, there was a kid that nobody liked sitting next to me, so I blamed it on him. Everyone believed me. What's the right call? I started making friends pretty quickly after that.
Good or bad, why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROD.
Hello, Mike. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
So, back in my sophomore year was when I wanted to go to work. So, I got myself a job there at McDonald's.
All right.
So, first paycheck comes around. It's about springtime. I remember the nice weather. We don't usually have that. And what's my idea? I get myself and 6 of my friends all loaded up in my one friend car because I didn't have a license and I had no interest in driving yet. We all went to Little Caesars Pizza. Had about 7 pizzas total. After that, the next period was our math algebra class. 4 of us went in there with pizzas. That then led to later on in the year me figuring out who the stoners were amongst the school and me finding my stoner session moments.
So explain that last part again.
So it started leading into because all of a sudden the stoners were noticing that I was getting the food whenever I wanted to. So that's how I met up with one of my best buddies at the time. We would go get lunch at McDonald's, go to his place, and that's where I figured out what a gravity bong was. Got green stick for the first time off the gravity bong, and his mom was just disappointed.
Yeah, moms are going to be disappointed. I mean, look, the gravity bong, if that's what you start with, which a lot of people do, because it's homemade, right?
Or knife hits.
Yep. Right, knife hits. But, yeah, that'll take you down. And you'll find that, yes, moms are going to be disappointed.
I would like to try a gravity bong now. But
my go-to excuse was chicken from the school. I would blame the high school lunches chicken whenever I'd have to go home sick from smoking weed.
All right. But I never smoked in high school. Right? I mean, you guys know. I never really smoked till I moved to Seattle.
Yeah.
But the night I found out I was actually going to graduate and walk across, me and my buddy, he's like, let's go over to this guy's house. Like, he's got a couple beers or whatever. But there was a gravity bong. So I was like, sure. Like, I'll give it a try. And I mean, I don't know that I've ever been that high in my life. Yep. It was awful. Like, I thought I saw the 7-Eleven getting robbed, and I'm like in the car screaming, and my buddy's like, calm down.
Well, we had
from weed.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was just weed, I think. I mean, it was unbelievable.
No, I'm just saying, most people don't go into the screaming fit on weed. You know, like shrooms, you go like, okay, man, he's tripping. But weed, I'd be like, worst thing, I'll fall asleep. And here's Dad in the back of the car screaming like, okay, all right.
Yeah, dude, that's like, and I don't know that I've done one since then. Now I would do one because I can handle it.
You can handle it. You kind of know what to expect. You know what? I probably wouldn't bother to do one now. It's just so much at once. Like, am I going to, like, when I get stoned, man, I just want to.
I would do a beer bong.
Beer bong's fine.
Beer bong's not
but
gonna
Beer bong's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, you go to a tailgate. There's still a chance you're going to do a beer bong. You ever done a pool noodle?
No.
Yeah.
I bet that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as a beer bong. It doesn't work as great,
Sure.
but when you're in the lake, it looks awesome.
Why not? We had, I don't know what it was about, more so the middle school. We had 35 minutes in high school to go get lunch. Mm-hmm. And so the cafeteria was never really busy. There were only like 50 kids who probably pretty regularly ate at the cafeteria.
Sure.
On school lunch. And so we had 35 minutes, so we would go out. Well,
you could leave campus?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And there was
they had a smoking section, Ted, of course.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Different times.
So the lady who cooked the food, and there was one, and she had one assistant who I'm pretty sure was drunk 99% of the time.
Wouldn't you be?
So this guy was just kind of like following orders on what she had. She planned the menu. She ordered the food. She did all the things. So she got pretty sick. I think she was battling cancer or whatever the deal was, but she was gone for 2 months. So they changed the rules and gave us 45-minute lunch, which gave us more time to get out, and we could have food delivered to the school. At this point in time, one of the iconic movies from way before that, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, has a scene where Spicoli orders a pizza, and it's delivered in class.
All right.
We were allowed to have this happen. Pizza and subs.
In class?
You ordered it. If it was 45 minutes, they would encourage you to get the food as fast as you can.
Sure.
But the delivery driver sometimes would show up with like 20 orders, 15 orders of food, 5, 6 pizzas. Guys would come back to class with bags of McDonald's. They're like, dude, Joel, if you're going to McDonald's, let us know.
Right.
Like, they're sitting there eating a Big Mac in class with French fries, dipping it in ketchup and stuff. And it was perfectly normal. But I was always so pissed off when like you didn't know if somebody was going.
Yeah.
They come in like with McDonald's, like I got McDonald's, like Eddie Murphy.
Right.
And they just sit there and eat it in class.
You know, when we were seniors, you could leave, you could go off campus, but like you couldn't as like the first 3 years. But same thing. I'm with you. I remember like at assembly or something. And this guy, I still know him to this day, and he walked through eating a 20-piece chicken nugget. We were just so jealous.
Good or bad, why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Juan. Welcome to the men's room.
How you guys doing, fellas?
Hola!
Well, my memorable day is when I got caught copying off of this girl's paper, and the teacher gave me 300 minutes of detention. And he told me, you have to get this signed by your mom. I said, okay. So I gave it to my friend, the one with the prettiest handwriting. So my mom's name is Irene. Sign it. So she signed it, and then that same damn night was the parent-teacher conference. So she comes in and she says, what's your name with 300? I said, that's 300 points. And the teacher said, wait a minute. He has 300 minutes of detention. And man, I got a whooping that night.
Yeah, I bet you did.
What did you do it after school?
Yeah, I had to do it after school, 30 minutes after school every damn day.
So how do you get home? I mean, you're not on the bus schedule now. So does that mean your parents are obligated to come pick you up every day after school?
If that's the situation, yeah.
No, I lived a block and a half away.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, I wonder how they do that, because typically in those situations, you would stay a few days after the school year or do like summer school for a week.
Yeah.
Or if you needed it academically, you'd do it for the entire summertime. But that was when they used to do that stuff. Make-up days, if you got sick, you had to stay.
We had Saturday detentions.
Saturday
I
detentions
remember
as
Saturday
well?
detention. I never went to those. Like, detention, I'm like, you're kidding yourself, right? Because I remember the first time I had to stay after school was third grade music class. I don't remember what I did. I think I just interrupted the class, like talking to a buddy, something like that. But I do remember the teacher singled me out. You're staying after school for 30 minutes. I remember when she told me that. I'm like, why does she think that? Like, she said that, but it seemed weird to me that you'd make such an obviously stupid statement the way I perceived it. Mm-hmm. School bell rang. I went home. So the next day I go into class and the teacher's all pissed. Right? And I'm just not piecing this together. She's like, hey, I thought you were staying after school for 30 minutes. I'm like, I don't know why you thought that. She's like, well, I told you to. I'm like, tell me anything you want. I'm not staying. She's like, okay, tell me to wash your clothes. See if that happened. Like, it just did not stick in my head. So she had to explain, like, you are in trouble. You interrupted the class. I'm like, okay. So the punishment is that you stay after school for 30 minutes. I fully expect to see you there. And again, I'm like, I do not know why she has these expectations. I never did it. I remember she called my mom. It's about a week later. and it shouldn't have been a big deal. I mean, from my perspective, and she explained to my mom, and basically he's just being insolent, and I really wasn't. I'm like, I don't know why she thinks I'm to stay for 30 minutes after school, and they kept explaining it to me, and to this day, I'm like, I'm not picking up on what you're putting down. I understand that you're angry. There's some kind of punishment or whatever, but, like, if it's after school, it's like after hours, brother. Don't call me on vacation. Like, when school's done, I'm done. So whatever you want to do, I'm cool with you having me in trouble. So, like, if it's during school detention, cool. After school, there's zero chance in your lifetime. And they just ended up dropping it.
I got beaten with a paddle. I got put in detention.
Oh, yeah.
I got suspended. I got all those
That
things.
S worked. The paddles and the rules
paddles
worked.
because they also bored holes in them in the shop class. So when you were getting beaten in the hallway, you could hear the whistle inside through the door. But
Set its own.
Fourth grade.
It really
Fourth
does.
grade, I'm sitting in front
That was all gone.
I'm sitting in front of Debbie Klingensmith. At this point in time, we are still all in the same class with the same teacher.
All day, right?
All day long. You just switch subjects. We're switching subjects, and we have a quiz and whatever we're doing next. Debbie Klingensmith gets up, and we'd had a little confrontation. We had a little jarring back and forth. She gets up and sharpens her pencil, stands up and sharpens her pencil on the wall, sits back down, and stabs me in the back with it. Now, this pencil, I still have the lead in my back. I still have the lead in my back. This pencil went in at least a half an inch to an inch, right? So I'm bleeding profusely out the back, but I'm just feeling the sharp pain. I'm not really putting together exactly what happened yet.
You didn't assume that someone stabbed you in the back with a pencil?
It was like this sharp pain to the point where I knew something was in my back. I just did not know what it was.
Right.
It was the pencil that Debbie had sharpened, right? So
That's kind of gangster, Debbie. Don't do it, kid.
She stabs me in the back. And then I end up going to the school nurse. The school nurse was concerned because she thought the pencil had broken off on the which the lead had come out of the pencil. So then I had to go to the emergency room. And they dug around there. They got as much out as they could, but they could not get the last little piece of lead out. Kind of just sewed me up or whatever they did, cauterized it.
What did you say that this girl stabbed you?
I don't know. I've seen her do. She was she snapped a lot. I mean, the worst one I've ever seen was this girl she was pretty. She was getting a drink of water at the water fountain. And Debbie come up, grabbed the back of her head, and smashed her mouth into that fountain, and just teeth fell into the water fountain. I was just like blood everywhere.
Did she get expelled?
That's okay. So, all right. I come back the next day to school.
All right.
Debbie Klingensmith is sitting in class. I lose it with the teacher. First of all, I didn't take the quiz, so I needed to go into a different room to take this quiz.
Yeah.
So that was number one. Number two is she's sitting there. They haven't changed the seats. She didn't get suspended. She didn't get sent to the principal's office.
And you don't trust sitting in front of her.
There's still blood on the back of my chair from where she stabbed me with a pencil. Like, I got suspended and disciplined for nothing. She stabbed me in school. I went to the hospital.
Did they finally kick her out after the other girl?
No. Well, yeah, maybe then.
I hope
to
so.
God.
What is she doing now? Can we Google her? I'm curious to know.
Yeah. I know Belinda.
You know what she's doing?
Well, it's
Time.
I was going to say 15 to 20.
Belinda, her sister, was meaner. Good or
Jesus.
bad? Why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
Have you or a loved one been injured in an accident? Are you struggling to recover fair compensation? Look no further. At Phillips Law Firm, the experienced personal injury attorneys will fight for your rights and get you the justice and compensation you deserve. They handle a wide range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, medical malpractice, and workplace injuries. Justice is a phone call away, so don't wait. Call today for a free case review. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Therapy is known to be extremely helpful. But have you ever tried eavesdropping on someone else's problems? Listen to the new podcast, Say More with Dr. Sheila, starring Amy Poehler as the world-renowned self-proclaimed couples therapist.
You know, it's funny, as I was making the appointment to come today.
I'm sorry, I made the appointment.
I booked the appointment.
Listen to Say More with Dr. Sheila on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Steve. Welcome to the men's room.
Hello?
Hola.
Well, when I was in school, I was in the junior high, I was running to class, and the third bell, that meant you was late. So when I was full speed, the girl that I had a crush on opened the door, and I smacked right into the door, and I ended up thought I was going to typing class, was in class, and I thought I was typing. Apparently, I didn't make it to the typewriter. I fell out. I passed out.
And where did you wake up?
On the floor in front of the typewriter.
Did she knock you out, Ezra?
Yes.
Okay.
And so when I was wait. No, this is Steve. Sorry.
Oh,
Wrong
yeah.
person.
Steve.
My bad.
Steve. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Steve. So you got the wrong person. I don't know who that is.
I don't
you
either.
guys keep on confusing people for that guy.
Yeah.
But,
We confused you for Ezra when your name was Philip. We confused you for Ezra when your name was
William.
Bob.
Yeah, we've got a little confused.
This is Steve. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who that is. So,
Sure.
I mean,
He was the guy
anyway.
that passed out and got hit in the back by a girl he thought was hot in typewriting class and woke up on the floor beside it.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't in the class. She was in the hallway. She opened the bathroom door.
Oh, okay.
And I smacked it. And I ran in, walked into this class. I swore I was not typing, but I didn't even make it to the typewriter. I passed out, and they had me laying in the principal's office. Everybody walking by asked me what happened. Let it tell them. It's like, okay.
Did you not have a nurse's office in your school?
Yes, but someone's already in there.
I see.
I'm saying, if I'm the principal, like, get his ass out of here, man.
Right. Well, did you get in trouble?
He's gone.
All right.
Someone here, it's funny. A couple texts came in. Hey, it's this guy again. Followed by, I swear to God, this is Ezra. No.
It was
just
William.
his
It was
voice.
Steve. It was Ezra.
Listen.
His voice is so specific. It's like, sorry, dude. Like, you can't cover that up.
You know why Darth Vader didn't make prank phone calls? Because, like, Darth, you got to cut it off.
Or Yoda.
It's not. It's Yoda. It is not. Dude,
refrigerator running, is it?
Gary, it is. No, this is Yoda. No. You confused me with someone else.
Grogu.
It's like, look, man, we know it's you.
Dude, I mean, look, my mom for years worked with this guy, right? And he lived in my neighborhood. Steve Armola. I don't mind saying his name.
Ezra Armola.
What's right? He had a voice like that. Kind of that high-pitched, almost like he smoked cigarettes too, but I don't think he did.
Right.
But when I started working at Town Hall, that's where he drank. So, I mean, as soon as he came in, I knew exactly who he was and everything. But he was the same way. Like, and it's like, Steve, we know it's you. Like, who said that?
Was he trying to pretend to be somebody else?
No, he would just. That bar was very strange. Like let's say, Miles, like I'm looking at you, right? So let's say you're the door. I don't know how to explain it. Like a couple nights a week, the college kids would come in. Outside of that, the right side of the bar was all the locals from College Park that were white, and the left side of the bar where the pool tables were all the black dudes from the neighborhood. And like they would intermix a little bit, but Steve would say some like. He was trying to get something, and it was like, he's like, I didn't say it. It's like, Steve, I know you yelled that. Like, you're the only one in here with that voice. I know you yelled that.
It wasn't me.
Right, and also, it's like, let's just say, I don't know, because I know everybody in the bar, and it's like, also, why are you yelling something sort of racist at Tom over there? Like, you played pool with him 2 hours ago. Now you don't like him? Yeah.
He beat your ass. Good or bad, why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
I mean, look, I grew up there. I still don't understand how that dynamic worked in that bar.
That is weird. That's such a Maryland thing, though.
It is, right?
If a black guy and a white guy are together, they're cops. Like, that was, like, just the overwhelming belief. Like, they could be co-workers, could be cops, man. That's the 5-0.
That's why I hated the lunchroom at the Rotunda. Because basically, you know, for some reason, white people never remember to bring their leftovers in from dinner. So they never have hot lunch. So it's always like a bologna sandwich and like a bag of chips, like a soda, some crap. Like when the microwave was humming, man, you went in the kitchen. It was like, what is that? You know, pulled pork, lasagna.
But it's also 3 courses.
So,
oh, baby, it's pulled pork, and then I have coleslaw, and then I have sweet potatoes,
like,
and also I have, would you like some? And I don't have a problem. Like, yeah, because that's more food than you're going to eat.
Yeah. That's when
multiple courses.
That's when the revelation. White people eat cold lunch. Black people eat hot lunch. It's just the way it goes down in this building. Period. Period.
Even at our old building in Baltimore, man. I'm thinking about that one. If you went into that kitchen, you're right. Like sales guys eating this cold ass bologna sandwich,
watching stuff drop from the vending machine.
What was her name? Like Tequila, something like that.
Yeah, Tequila Sanders.
I think her name was Tequila. Believe it or not, and always ate hot lunch.
Yeah, I mean, look, when Miles came up, when he told me that there, I was like, he's not wrong.
No. It's just observation like anything else, because I want the lasagna.
Right.
I don't want this.
I bet you do, homie.
I don't want this pizza crab sandwich.
Yeah, and like DeMatha, my high school, where it's a private school, so you could buy lunch there, but you had to buy it. So, you know, everybody took lunch. A couple days a week, you'd buy lunch or whatever. And I'm not kidding. The only day it sold out was Chicken Wing Day.
Right.
Of course you had Chicken Wing Day.
They would only do it like once every couple weeks or something. And as soon as you got to school that day, it was no.
Word was out.
Yeah. Word was out.
Yo, man, you bring cash. It's Chicken Wing Day.
Tiny, you know it's Chicken Wing Day? I do.
Of course I know.
Ours was big sheet pan pizza. She would make it homemade. She would actually spread the dough out. It wasn't like, I mean, it was a huge ass cookie sheet, but she knew how to make pizza. She's an old Italian woman. So pizza day was
all right.
Pizza day was like, you just got a big square piece of pizza, covered half your tray, and you were good to go, Milk on the side, basically, is what you got.
So, I mean, pizza day and top
Pizza
day.
and milk.
Those were the big ones. I know. The combo, not great. In fact, this chick, Tequila, we were talking about.
Sellers.
A strange conversation I just didn't think I'd have to have with anyone, but I went into the kitchen during a break on the show, and Tequila is there in front of the microwave waiting for her food to heat up. I don't know what she had in there, but it's spinning around in plastic. And I'm over at the sink, and she goes, baby, let me ask you something. So what's up? And she points at the sink and says, baby, what is that in the sink? And I looked down and I said, that is a Tupperware container full of Miles's butt hair. Which was an honest answer. Oh, my God. I said, look, just don't ask questions. That's what it is.
I'm coming to clean it up in a minute.
Don't. I said, and that's the thing. She's like, man, he's got to get that out of here, especially now that I know what it is. I said, look, he will, man. We're in the Why is his butt hair in the Tupperware container? I said, look, you don't need to know. It doesn't matter. But that's what it is. Just leave it alone. Don't eat it. I'll let him know. She was so disgusted.
Well, I lost a bet with Ted on the West Virginia Maryland game.
It's a very long butt hair.
I'll tell you something
long
else.
Butt hair.
Don't ever do that because the hair's coming back in on your backside. Oh, my God. You want to talk about ingrown hairs and just pimple bumps? And, oh, my God. And you got to sit on it. Good or bad? Why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
Maryland was good that year.
They were. You took the bet? Mm-hmm. Hello, Dave. Welcome to the men's room. Hello, Dave.
Dave.
No Dave.
David.
Davy.
Hello, Nikki. Welcome to the men's room.
Hi, guys.
Hola.
So it was the summer after my junior year, I believe, and I went to Stadium High School down in Tacoma, and the movie 10 Things I Hate About You was being filmed at my high school.
You were there during the filming.
That's part of my story.
All right. That's a beautiful high school. I mean, all the pictures you see from like the top of the stadium looking down the water. I mean, that's a beautiful place.
Well, I know a lot of people that went there. I've never talked to somebody that actually went there while they were filming.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why it's a good and bad story for me. So it was being filmed there. All of my classmates, everyone at my school, because it was a high school movie, was allowed to be extras. You just had to sign up, get your parents to sign off, and you could be extras. It was paid, everything like that. So everyone signed up. My mom would not let me be an extra because she said I had to work my part-time job at Dairy Queen. So.
Are you kidding?
Nope. Serious.
So were you pretty much the only kid that did not get to be an extra in that movie?
Pretty much. And to this day, when I watch that movie, all I see is all my friends. I can't watch the movie for the movie. All I see is all my friends.
Are you still mad at your mom about this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I would be too.
You know, that's never going to go away, man. Like, how much were you making an hour at Dairy Queen?
Oh, just minimum wage.
Yeah, of course.
This was back in 98.
Okay, so who were the stars of the movie?
Was that Reese Witherspoon?
No,
no,
it was
Julia Stiles, Heath Ledger.
Yeah, Keith Ledger. Like all my friends got signed memorabilia, pictures.
Yeah, I was going to say, what
Gabrielle
did they say
Union
their experience was like being there?
All my friends said it was amazing. They said Heath Ledger was the nicest, neatest person. They said Julia Stiles was not. She was very rude to everybody.
Oh, really? Okay.
You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know.
You never
have
know.
no idea.
You never know.
Damn, man.
She might live out here now.
Julia Stiles?
Yeah.
What is she up to now? Nothing?
I think she consciously kind of stepped away and went to did she go to an Ivy League school or something?
Oh, did she?
She's white.
Okay. All right. I get that then.
I could be confusing her because we were all in love with her at the time.
Yes, we were. Nikki, look, I feel bad for you, man. I would still be bitter about that too, man. It could have been.
Yeah, Nikki, I'm not going to help, but that does suck. Because, I mean, I know they do, tours there for people our age that watch the film and want to see the school.
Yep.
Maybe you could get a job as a tour guide for the people that want to see your school. Like, hey, I could have been in the movie, but I was making you a goddamn blizzard after your long day on the set.
Somebody's got to grill and
I can
chill.
make the heck out of a blizzard for you guys.
Man, that sucks, dude. I'm mad for you. Oh, my God.
Julia Stiles, Heath Ledger, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
All right, who else we got?
Let's see here. Andrew Keegan, Gabriel Union.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Allison Janney.
All these people you could have met, Nikki.
Right? I could have met Joker.
How long did they film there? How many weeks?
Oh, Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Joan Jett.
I believe it was a couple months. It was during the summer.
All right, so basically they just figured the whole summer to film this, and you got to miss the whole thing. Okay, so obviously your mom is trying to teach you to be responsible. I understand where she's coming from as a parent, although I'd let my kids skate on that. But what valuable life lesson did you learn as a result of working your minimum wage Dairy Queen job as opposed to enjoying being an extra in this movie?
Nothing.
I will say in her
Not to do it to my kids.
in her mom's defense, I don't think people knew that movie was going to become the classic
You don't.
is for especially for like my generation, right? Like if you're in your 40s, like that movie was massive.
Yeah, there's no way you know, but it's just this opportunity. Because if nothing else, this would be my thought. You're right. You don't necessarily know it's going to be big, but chances are it'll be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where Dairy Queen will be waiting for you.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, every time you eat a peanut butter parfait, you'd probably cry at that moment. Like, I could have been in a movie. I could have been cool. Good or bad, why wasn't a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
You know, Dairy Queen has a strong, a strange stronghold on small towns.
I think the food's great.
Like you used to see in McDonald's.
Yeah.
But I was like, when we were in Montana, I was like, Dairy Queens.
Because I think Dairy Queen is the treat. Like McDonald's is the basic. Nothing wrong with McDonald's, but you go like, well, people live here. Of course there's a McDonald's. You know what I mean? It's like having a gas station.
My daughter,
we got a stop sign. We got a McDonald's. We might have a 7-Eleven. Dairy Queen shows up. That changes the game, man.
My daughter survived on those chicken strips and Texas toast with French fries.
Yeah.
That was her meal, man. She ate that thing like 4 or 5 times a week.
There just wasn't one, like where I grew up, there just wasn't one close.
No, there wasn't.
And I don't know, are they not in as many major cities?
I don't think they. So a lot of places, you'll find McDonald's everywhere. But then when you think about, you can find a McDonald's almost in any downtown of any major city.
Right.
Burger King, for whatever reason, they'll be in the city. They're not downtown, and they tend to go closer to wherever the county line is. I don't know why. And Dairy Queen, for the outside of New York City or something, they're like, yeah, we're not going to the city, man. We're here for the suburbs. We're here for the country. You can come to us.
There was one in Pittsburgh. There was a Dairy Queen Brazier, and they had food.
Yeah.
And so the Dairy Queen in our town was a smaller location and just had ice cream, milkshakes, blizzards, that type of thing.
All right.
So we made it a point when we went up to Pittsburgh. We are going to stop at that. They've got onion rings.
Yeah.
They've got cheeseburgers. They've got French fries. They've got all this stuff. Our mind was blown that Dairy Queen did anything else other than ice cream.
But I'm saying, if we went on a road trip and went out, which nowadays wouldn't be the country, but it seemed like the country to us. It would always be like, can we stop at a Dairy Queen?
My wife says it now. My wife sees the Dairy Queen and we stop at Dairy Queen. She will not pass up a Dairy Queen, but I think part of it is because there's none really super close.
Yeah.
I think if they're closer, she'd just go there all the time. And where we grew up, Ted, here's the thing that used to irritate me, all right? You can't get Dairy Queen, fine. I understand, do your business thing. But you get these weird ghetto knockoffs. Dairy royalty. They call it some crap like that. And yeah, they had ice cream, but it wasn't close to Dairy Queen.
My favorite is still that one in Greenmount, a couple blocks over from where I lived. That was Kennedy Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
Same colors. I think it used to be a Kentucky Fried Chicken.
But they changed it.
Yeah. They just changed it to Kennedy Fried Chicken. That in Baltimore is the only city I had. There were stores that'd be like New York Fried Chicken.
Mm-hmm. What the hell's the difference? Doesn't matter. But you'd still look, no matter what. One thing I'll say about Baltimore, it's got its problems, but the food is good everywhere. But Baltimore is also I think it's the king of repurposing. So close to where I lived, it used to be a 7-Eleven. All right. So one thing in Baltimore, if a church needs space, they'll go to the abandoned whatever. So there's lots of old churches that have been there since the 1700s, but they're not building anything new. So if Pizza Hut closes down, they open the church at the Pizza Hut. Now, they don't change anything. It'll just say
they have a strip club,
the first Christ of church, and it'll just say it on. But my favorite, there was an old 7-Eleven, and it's one of those old school 7-Elevens where in the corner of their lot, they had a long pole and a spinning, rotating 7-Eleven sign to let you know they're there. Well, they took over the 7-Eleven. They didn't change any of the colors. It just said, Christ the Redeemer Church or something like that. And they put a big-ass cross on top of the spinning 7-Eleven thing. So you can see this cross spinning from a mile away.
And like Lenny's on a bucket of chicken, spinning around. You could definitely tell.
You would just write something different on it.
Exactly.
Like Bob's Big Boy, you just put a...
Strip club in West Virginia is a Pizza Hut. It's probably close to Charlestown. It's an old Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
But you walk in there, it's like an open dance floor. It's spacious, but when you walk in, you're like...
This is a Pizza Hut.
You go up to the bar, that's where the cash register is.
Right.
It's a Pizza Hut.
The Pizza Hut I went to as a kid is now a Peruvian chicken joint.
But I bet you it looks exactly the same.
It does, and it's delicious.
Good or bad, why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Hopefully you got your invitation there for the Men's Room World Tour stop number 5 this Saturday, 3 to 6, the 884 Pub in Bremerton. The beer, we'll have the sausage, the salsa. All kinds of fun, man. A little big dummy, dirty big dummy, but wait, there's more. I know you hear that all the time on the weekend, but guess what? Ryan Castle, everybody, is celebrating his 20th anniversary here at KISW. Now this is a pretty big deal for anyone in radio to keep the same job at the same radio station for 20 years. Damn near impossible. If you were a betting man, you would never put $1 down on that.
Especially if you knew Ryan Castle. Especially, I'm just saying, back in those days.
That's right.
It's amazing that he's made it that long.
But the head honcho, Ryan Castle, he's been here 20 years, and they're going to throw a party and celebrate here at KISW. It's Ryan Castle's 20th anniversary party. That's at Tony V's, Sunday, October 1st. He got Saving Abel to play.
For Castle. Did they have been confused with someone cool?
I'm not sure. Saving Abel's going to play Ryan Castle's anniversary party.
And Tony V's going to work on Sunday again.
I bet he doesn't get us crap for our 4,000 party.
You know what? We should hedge our bets on
Exactly.
that.
I'll bet $1 on that one. I'll take the Saving Abel. We'll just find something for you guys to do. You just go out and hang out around. By the way, all the details on how you can join us for that party at KISW.com. That's very cool. Tony V's is an amazing location. Ryan deserves it. 20 years anywhere is a long time. Hell, we're only on 18.
We're on 18, yeah.
We feel like we've been here forever, so believe it or not, that's a big deal.
Remember when we first got here, Hair Club said, hey, man, we got this other guy at Castle's been here a little over a year, but you guys should go hang out, see if you guys get along. Because Hair Club is very much about, you don't have to hire the best, which is proven to be true. You hire people that you think.
At Casper, we want you to have it all, especially when it comes to your sleep. So we went ahead and made everything on our site up to 50% off. Yeah, for real. Even our innovative, extremely comfy mattresses, yep, they're up to 25% off. Adjustable bed frames, 50% off. Pillows, sheets, bedding bundles, and that super cute dog bed, it's on sale. It doesn't get much bigger than this. Visit Casper.com or a store near you through October 24th to save on everything. Exclusions apply. See Casper.com/promo.
Work together. So we went out with Castle. We were out until 7:30. All right, 7:30 p.m. Mm-hmm. Get off of work at 6. We're done at 7:30. We go home. Miles and I don't give it a thought. We come in the next day. Hair Club says, you guys put a hurting on Castle. So what are you talking about? He goes, look, one thing you need to know about him, which I've discovered, if he comes in with his hood up, but keeps it on when he's indoors, he is very, very hungover. And he added, not only is he very, very hungover, he's also very, very pale. Now, I don't remember the entire night, because, again, it was only an hour and a half. But as Castle explains it, he goes, look, one, I have never drank that much in 90 minutes. He said, I could not believe how much you guys power drink. And I'm like, that's how we roll. And he said, and I don't remember this, but he swears that you and I left him with the bill.
I think we did, yes.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't remember doing that.
I mean, it could have happened.
He could have said, "I'll pay for it."
Yeah, typically, I mean,
I don't. The way he said it, I don't think he said that, Ted. The way he said it is not so much like he offered.
With alcohol, I'm not shy to jump in on paying my tab.
But that night we were.
Maybe so. I'm not exactly sure. All the details on Ryan Castle's 20th anniversary party at Tony V's is at KISW.com. On our question, good or bad, why was it a memorable day at school? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Tater. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, you beautiful bitches.
Hola.
So I harken back from the good old days of corporal punishment, and I hate bullies. So I'm in my sixth grade class. We have this little Mexican lady teaching us who doesn't have great control of the class, and I got a jock sitting right behind me. He's the bully. So everything getting passed back and forth, somehow he's got to smack me in the face with it or what have you, right? So I don't know what came over me, but I did a full body twist and backhanded the taste out of his mouth. We end up rolling around on the floor with that poor little teacher trying to drag us apart. Get sent to the vice principal's office. I believe you guys talked about that earlier.
Yep.
Where we each received a hack. Now, here's where it's kind of fun, because I had known Mr. Wilson for like 4 years at this point because I visited him regularly for a hack. So we each get our hack from Mr. Wilson. I'm like, that was a good one, sir. How do you do it? And we head back to class, and this bully is walking along beside me crying like a baby because I don't know if he had ever received corporal punishment before. But
when you're a bully, perhaps not.
And so he's threatening me, if you tell anybody about this, I will kill you. And I'm just walking beside him laughing. Two things out of that. One, I learned a little bit about my neighborhood bully. And two, he didn't bully me anymore after that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of memorable.
Mm-hmm. Humiliation goes a long way, man. I mean, it goes a long way. Even if they beat your ass, if you can get one good one in, they'll typically leave you alone. And look at it like this, right? Lion, I'm the king of the jungle. Right, but you still go after the young, the elderly, or the sick. Correct. You're not trying to go head on with the badass. So, like anything, man. I mean, like, you're going to deal with bullying at some point in your life. And as my father says, my father always says, he goes, I'm not a dentist, but I bet you your knuckles do a better job removing their teeth from their mouth than their gums will of holding them. So, like, look, man, punch them in the mouth. They just won't. They'll still be a bully. They'll still be an a-hole. They're still not going to like you. You're still not going to like them, but they'll leave you alone. And you kind of set the precedent for everyone else. Like, hit them in the face.
Heiser's buddy, who was about the same age as him, they were the group that we had to really avoid if we could at all costs, because they would just, I mean, you name it. Steal your football, take off. It didn't matter. Even if you did get in a fight, they'd figure out a way to ruin your day. And so there was this one.
Steal your football. I don't know why that's
no,
funny.
they weren't. I mean, they come up and roll up, and you're like, all right, hey, man, let's play some pickup basketball. All right, guys, they're taller than us, they're older than us, and they leave with the basketball. That's exactly the kind of guys they were. We might not have been in a fight that day. But my buddy Patrick, that was his basketball. He wanted to beat their ass.
Sure.
So at one point in time,
and Boys in the Hood wasn't out yet, so you didn't know. Don't give them the football.
Don't even let them touch anything you have.
Right, you're not getting it back.
So there was this one place where I got poison oak from swinging down a vine, but it was a place at a lake where the way the wall worked on the side of the lake, the water dropped off about 20 feet.
Yeah.
It was a deep part of the lake, so it was safe to dive in. It was safe to jump off the cliff into the water. You had a lot of room before you got to the bottom. So we get down there, and this is after Pat's basketball had been stolen. Now, Heiser's buddy, John, just got the Christmas before. Now, keep in mind, this is the beginning of summer, but the Christmas before, he just got a brand new Huffy dirt bike.
All right.
Okay.
Huffy.
It was bad, man. It had like a number.
Huffy had
a number on the front, man. It looked like it could jump. I mean,
those were the top bikes.
Hell yeah, they were.
All the bikes we had before that just looked like old bicycles.
Because they were.
Yeah, this was the first one that looked cool. Like you could actually jump it and everything else. So we get down there, and Pat sees that Tim and John, they're out on a raft, on an inflatable raft. They're out there swimming around and everything. Pat picks up that bike and throws it into the lake. Oof. That bike drops 20 feet to the bottom of that lake. They could not get it out. So they finally had one buddy who was able to dive down that far, and he tied a rope to it, and they finally yanked that thing out after like a day and a half, 2 days. Man, that was an ass beating they put on us one day, like a week. I mean, because this is a summer, so it's not like a school thing.
Right.
They hunted us down. They found us and beat our asses. But it was still one of the funniest things you've ever seen in your life. You just watch John go like, my bike! And he almost broke into tears. I could not believe Pat did it, because if you saw the bike, you would never want to destroy it. You might want to steal it, but you would never want to.
But it's his.
Threw it in the
yeah, that's the difference. But
you could see it shiny, in the sun and everything. Like you could see the reflection in the ripples of the water.
How long did it take them to track it down and whip it?
It wasn't long, but I know it took them a long time to figure out a way to get that, because they tried 9 or 10 different things. They dropped string with ropes, with makeshift devices to see if they could hook it and pull it up and all this stuff. And eventually one dude just dove down in, man, kind of tied something to it, and they yanked it out.
I was going to say, it's kind of like in high school. There's always a couple rich kids. Like, I'm glad nobody got hurt, but I wasn't heartbroken that he ruined his car he got when he was 16.
No, yeah, I mean, there's a few people like that. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. But yes, they do find you and bad things happen. I bumped into at an amusement park at at a freaking, you think it's the summer, same thing. Our beef went down. He was 2 years older than me. And I mean, he picked on everyone, but he just pissed me off one day. And I messed up his leather jacket. He was super proud of his leather jacket, but he folded it over the bus seat. I will not say what I wrote on there, but I wrote something very legible, very easy to see. And I managed to get off the bus before he noticed. But he noticed before I had made it up my driveway. His window came down, and he's screaming all the stuff at me. And this little girl, we never really got along, but she got off the same stop. She's like, he's going to kill you. I'm like, I know, man. But I was like, I had to do it because I'm sick of his ass, you know. But there's nothing I can really do except stuff like that, because physically that guy's going to end me. And I managed to avoid him most of the summer because he lived close to one of my friends. And my buddy was like, hey, man, like, he's home. So if I went to my friend's house when this guy Carl was home, there's no way he wouldn't see me. And I'm like, all right, well, you come over here. So one day there's a little crappy amusement park. It was, they call it an amusement park. Basically, it was like a year-round fair. But we went there toward the end of the summer, and we got off of a roller coaster, man. And I'm looking at my friend talking to him, and I turn around, and this dude Carl is standing right in front of me. And one thing I always remember is, he put his hand on my bicep, and there's no chance I can, like, get away from him. And the smile on his face when he saw me. And it's almost like when Bugs Bunny thought he was going to get away with something and his ears just drop behind him. That was me. And I remember he punched me in the stomach, man. I swear to God. Like, I've had the wind knocked out of me before, but I'm like, I feel like you knocked the wind out of me for about an hour and a half. It was.
Fall over?
I didn't. Because I refused to. Like, my knees buckled, but I'm like, do not go down on your knees. You're telling yourself that. And I will say this, in all honesty, the only reason I didn't completely drop to my knees, the story is I'm a badass. The truth is, he was still holding my arm. So
I was going to say, yeah, when you get hit in the stomach, it's hard not to fall over.
Yeah. He's still holding my, I mean, just this, to the point like my hand, you know, you start losing circulation. But that was pretty much the end of it. All he said was, you have to pay for my jacket to get, I can't remember what he said, not like clean, it was some other thing. And I was like, well, how much do you think that's going to cost? He said $40. Like, when you're in sixth grade in the 70s, $40. Like, you might as well say you have to hit Powerball. Like, that's not going to happen, man.
Yeah, it's like $200.
Yeah, there's zero chance that I can do that. So he beat my ass one more time, and then that was it. But he didn't mess with him anymore.
What'd you write on, like, did you use like a Sharpie? Like,
I used a big marker. Hold on, I'll write down exactly.
I have an idea.
I'm going to write this down. And I wrote it in big-ass letters.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Is that what you guys?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, man. And but here's the thing. But he kind of left me alone after that. And it was just because, not that he couldn't have beaten the piss out of me, which he did on 2 occasions, but it's just because I humiliated him on the butt, and he didn't like being embarrassed. So I realized that, and it's like, hey, man, water under the bridge, brother.
I mean, look, nobody does. I have said that to people before. Yeah. Like, there's certain things that will really upset me and piss me off.
Yeah.
But you can deal with it. But when people embarrass you, like, on purpose, like, it is.
That's a different level.
Right. And it's just, that's a few of those things that I'm just like, I'm not going to forget that.
Right. People snap.
Yeah.
Man,
they do.
The one of the worst.
Well, how about the guy that you, first day of school guy?
First day. So I had been expelled from another school. At the end of the school year. So I just knew as summer was ending, I'm not going back to that school, so I had to start at a different school. So it's the first day of the school. The bell has not rung to go inside yet. So all the students are outside. And you're a pretty tough guy, but it's Baltimore, so everyone thinks they're tough. Whatever. This guy proved to be. But I'm out there, and I had ratty-ass shoes on, and this is when Jordans are taking off, so everybody looks pretty fly, all things being equal. I just didn't care, so it's not my scene, right? So my shoes kind of beat up, ratty, whatever. And he makes mention, he looked down at my shoes, he's like, yo, man, you going to wear those ratty-ass shoes? Or what did he say? Oh, are you going to wear those ratty-ass shoes to school? And he's pointing. A couple people chuckled. I truly did not care. I said, don't worry about my effing shoes, right? He looked at me and goes, you kissed your mother with that mouth? I said, no, I kissed your mother with this mouth. And he punched me in the mouth within a billionth of a second of the insult coming out. Turns out, at this school, this particular school year, it was a new principal that started there. This was a pretty tough-ass school. Douglas High School. It's a bad place. But new principal, his nickname was like Iron Hand or Iron Fist. He was just like a no-nonsense guy. So I got expelled from that high school on the first day of school before classes started. My parents obviously were not particularly thrilled with me, but I'm like, I told them what happened, man. My dad kind of chuckled, but he's like, yo, man, you can't just get expelled. I'm like, obviously I can. I wasn't trying to there. Like, this one is not on me. I said what I had to say. And looking back, even though my mouth really freaking hurt and I got in a lot of trouble, I would do it again, but with one caveat. You know what I changed? I'd stand further away. Like, I'd say the same insult. I just don't want to be in fists.
I mean, that's a... Well,
I could not believe how quick he hit me, though, man.
They're both quick hitters.
But usually...
Good line out of you, quick reaction out of him.
But at that time, usually at that stage, you know, guys posture. So I'm figuring he's going to pump his chest. We go through all that dumb nonsense. None of that, man. I mean, it was a straight fist in my mouth. I was kind of impressed. Like, okay, that brother means what he says. He's not messing around.
I knew a couple that were together for it seemed like forever at this point in time in high school. Like they were the couple that was always together.
Right.
Senior year, they broke up, whatever the deal was. But they always had lockers beside each other. I don't know how.
Oh, God.
They were that couple. Well, they broke up, and now she's got a new boyfriend. And they're making out in the hallway between classes right beside her ex-boyfriend's locker.
Can you imagine doing that? Just as an adult, like,
yes.
come here, baby, let's just make out.
Yeah, right at the locker.
And 800 people.
Doors open, they're making out. And Kenny comes up, and he's like, hey, taps him on the shoulder, goes, how's my D taste? That was the quickest punch I'd ever seen.
Oh, really? That was like a You don't know what's going to set someone off till you say it.
I still thought that was one of the greatest lines I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, but he got punched in the mouth for it?
The guy, yeah. Because they're tonsil hockey. They're playing, they're going after it in the hallway, and this is like in between classes, and, he just taps him on it. How's my D taste?
But see, again, it's worth the comment. Just stand further away.
Yeah, that one, I don't know. Right, I'm like, he's fine.
That was a great comeback.
She knows damn well she's sitting next to his locker. Right.
Good or bad? Why was it a memorable day in school? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Stacy. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bicholas.
Hola.
It's Stacey, not Stacy.
It's what?
What is it?
Stacey.
Stacey?
Spacey?
Yeah.
Oh, Spacey.
Stacey. No.
Feces?
Stacey, like QCs. Like
Cece. Cece.
Yeah. Oh, Cece.
Like
you said feces.
Yeah.
All right, Cece. Now we got you.
Cece.
Yes. Well, anyway, so kind of funny that you're talking about the couple that was always together. So my wonderful day in school was a guy that I had been dating for pretty much my entire high school career. We were both seniors at this point. It was maybe like end of February, early March of our senior year. So we're wrapping up toward the end of the year. And there was a gal who was, I think, a junior at the time, and she was a foreign exchange student that year.
Where from?
And I think she was from Germany. Yeah. Well, anyways, so she was in the class. I was actually a teaching assistant for this particular gym class. It was like a dance gym class. And the teacher that was actually teaching the class had zero idea what she was doing, and I was on the dance team, so she asked me to kind of teach. So this girl was in this class. I'm essentially her teacher. And one day, I can't remember exactly what happened, but she wasn't feeling well, or there was some drama. And so finally I went up and I was like, hey, is everything...
One word there. Bedroom colors, here are the 7 words you can't say on the radio.
Dang it.
Sucker, mother, and please keep those words in mind when calling. Now back to the program.
All right, Cece, so you're like, crap.
Terrible. I'm so sorry. Anyway.
You should be, CC.
My God. You should go by feces with a mouth like that.
And you said you're an educator.
That's right.
Yes. Well, unpaid, so you get what you pay for. But in any event.
Yeah, we get a curse a teacher.
She lets out that she's pregnant, and I said, oh, okay, well, who's the father? And she says, Brandon.
That's the dude you're dating.
Yeah. Yep.
What is that moment like that someone, because obviously she did not know you were together, or she really didn't care and was flippant, but she tells you this, you're looking at her. I mean, does your jaw hit the floor? What do you do?
So to be fair, this guy had kind of a history of having rumors about having cheated on me in the years prior, like just, high school stuff, and it's hard to say what was true and what wasn't, because I never caught it. And this was back, this was 20 years ago, so, people had cell phones, but, texting wasn't really a thing. There wasn't a social media, really, so it's not like you could actively catch somebody or look through someone's phone.
Sure.
So it's just rumors, and I had no proof. So at first I was like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. And I happen to know that guy. So does he know? And the girl told me that, no, she hadn't told him yet. And I said, okay, well, do you want some support? And the funny thing is that the class was the last class of the day. And he happened to be, apparently he was going to drive her home. And I think because I was on the dance team, I was staying after school anyway. So he didn't expect me to come out to the parking lot because I never did.
Yeah.
So we walked out together. And when I tell you that white boy turned a shade of white that I didn't know was possible for a Washingtonian, I am not exaggerating. He was shocked, and he had a little, it was a Geo Metro. I don't know if they still make cars like it anymore, or if you know what that is.
We know
Geo Metro.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that car could go that fast. He busted out of that parking lot faster than I thought possible and took off. Needless to say, we broke up. So, and she actually got sent back to Germany and I don't know that this actually ended up being true or if it was, just drama, whatever. But regardless, it would have been violating some rule in the exchange student program. So she got sent back to Germany, immediately.
Did you find out if she had the kid or not?
I didn't. And the funny thing is that the guy, I'm pretty sure I was the only reason he was passing high school is because I would kind of help him with his homework and stuff because he didn't graduate. And from my understanding, he's got 5 kids with 3 different women and working at McDonald's and just a real winner. So not somebody I really want to touch base with.
Okay.
And I don't know that I would remember her name, and she wasn't at the school long enough to have been in the yearbook or anything. So, yeah. So that was exciting. Yeah.
See, that's the juicy drama I missed out on high school.
Oh, it's so much more drama in high school, though, with relationships and crap. It's the stereotype that's as true as it can be in your lifetime. I mean, it's just so much more than anything else you ever do. Everything's a life crisis. I remember telling my daughter, she had all that crap going on with boyfriends and friends and talking behind each other's backs. I'm like, look, I promise you, when you go to college, this all goes away, and you'll never have to think about, worry about, deal with this crap ever again. You'll get new friends. And within a month of being gone, she's like, Dad, you are so right.
But you got to get through it.
That's the tough thing. In high school, you just can't fathom
But you have to survive it.
Yeah, if you're in high school and you hear our voices right now, trust me, it will not be that big of a deal.
No, it really is not.
Let's see here. Coming up, the return of Who Sucks Less, and we have your emails on the way next from the men's room at KISW.com.
Dealing with an accident and injury claim can be overwhelming. Let Phillips Law Firm fight for you. We understand the pain and suffering, and we're here to guide you through. Call 1-800-JUSTICE today for a free case review, or visit justiceforyou.com and let Phillips Law Firm help you on the road to recovery.
Therapy is known to be extremely helpful. But have you ever tried eavesdropping on someone else's problems? Listen to the new podcast, Say More with Dr. Sheila, starring Amy Poehler as the world-renowned self-proclaimed couples therapist.
It's funny. As I was making the appointment to come today.
I'm sorry, I made the appointment.
I
booked the appointment.
Listen to Say More with Dr. Sheila on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Who Sucks Less is on the way. But first, time for a few emails from the men's room at KISW.com.
You've got mail. You've got mail.
Jump right to birthdays. Ola gentlemen, today we celebrate our son Benjamin's 12th birthday. Could he get some thrill shotgun gets? And Coach Ted telling him how he should celebrate on a school night. Thanks, guys. Lots of love. That from Mom, Dad, and the twins. Get!
I think I speak for all of us when I...
What?
Oh, what age, Mouse?
12 years old.
12 years old.
Get!
All right, 12 years old. Not quite a teenager. And that's a good thing. I don't know. Usually I say burger. Maybe it's a pizza night. But honestly, there's 3 letters coming to old Coach here. And they're yum. Yeah, that's right. You tell your parents to take you to that Robin. That Red Robin. And you get the biggest burger you can. Plus a milkshake. 2 orders of fries.
Bottomless fries.
Bottomless fries. Get 2 orders. Here's a little trick, people. Especially for you, son. It's your birthday. Before you finish your fries, you put in that second order. Wash it down with a milkshake.
And get the strawberry lemonade on the side.
That strawberry lemonade is delicious.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
Today's my niece Fiona's 18th birthday. Could she get a little kid fish sandwich and some words of wisdom from the wise one, Miles? Thanks, guys. And from Uncle Jeremy, Amber, and from Robin.
Fish challenge!
All right, some thoughts to ponder, Fiona. Do you ever think that fish get thirsty? If you're waiting for the waiter, aren't you then the waiter? Deep. Gentlemen, today is my 29th birthday. I'm an appliance technician. Been listening to you guys most of my life. Have a strange birthday request. I've always wanted to know with your soundboard, is it possible to hit a certain sound fast like a DJ? I don't know. Ted, maybe you can pull it off.
Whoa, if Mike was here. Yeah. Wrong day, fella.
How about some
It's a bad
inspirational...
day to be born, brother.
What does he want to hear?
Some inspirational thoughts from Miles and Ozzy, Ted. One last thing, good advice from a technician is Samsung appliances are terrible. They are terrible.
They are really bad.
TVs are great, though. Just throw together whatever you want.
Jeez Louise!
A script is a story. It's not a storybook.
Here comes the dope pusher! You're not God or my father or my boss!
Some thoughts to ponder, Jacob. If you can't drink and drive, why do you need a driver's license to buy alcohol?
That's a strong point.
And if corn oil is made from corn and vegetable oil is made from vegetables, what is baby oil made from?
You know what it is, Miles.
Want to wish my awesome wife,
Ozzy?
Melissa, a happy... Oh, sorry, man. Ozzy. Yep.
Yeah, Ted here from Melbourne. You know, we play Aussie rules football down here, but a few years ago, they had one of them legendary American football coaches come down here. They call him Lou Holtz. And he told us, mate, he said, when all's said and done, as a rule, often more said than done.
And I heard his teeth clicking.
Well, he's probably said it like a little more like this. When all is said and done, as a rule, often more is said than done.
Want to wish my awesome wife, Melissa, a very
sorry,
happy...
Coach Holtz.
I don't hurt you.
Happy 36th birthday. Can she get a time to take off the leash, followed by some David Lee Roth sounds? You guys have really helped bring some laughter to our days the last couple of weeks out here in Maui, listening on the Odyssey app. And it always means a lot hearing you guys. So keep on rocking that from Ryan.
It's time to take off the leash!
What else?
Yes!
Guys, today's my 47th birthday. Love some birthday wishes from the Dirty Germans and a fish sandwich deal. Hopefully me and the Hubs will be around for one of those stops on the Men's Room World Tour. Have a fabulous day. That from the lovely Stacy.
Is it too early for a fish sandwich? Cheese and tartar on the side. Yeah. I smell the fish sandwich, maybe some dill relish in the morning, at noon, and at night, and at night.
Yeah, Stacy, I'll tell you what, if I do meet you on one of these world tours, make sure your hubby is not with you, unless your hubby wants to see my chubby.
Hey. Almost stuck with the Aussie. Yeah, as you know, in Germany, again, we like to see American football. So you're 47, so you should try the 74 position, which means you have to sleep with an offensive lineman, to at least a man that looks like one.
Michelle, our lovely mother's 53rd birthday is today. She's one of your biggest fans. We've been listening since the Buzz days. How about Leroy Jenkins and you guys talking all over each other about gambling and casinos? Lots of love. That from Devin and from Jazzy.
Let's do this. Leroy!
Gambling and casinos.
I'll tell you what, man. That's one job that I actually don't play a lot of games, but I do love shooting craps. Lately, man,
dice is fun. You're playing against the house, not the dealers. Rolling dice, it's loud.
Still wins money.
Hello, Michelle. Gary here, longtime listener. Started around 99 when I was first introduced to the station at Fort Lewis. Love the show. Love you guys. My wife, she won't send in a birthday wish because she hates your show. Dana, I'm playing enough music. Now say that in an irritated wife's voice, and that's exactly what she sounds like. Today is the 57th anniversary that I was shot out of my mom's vagina. So I'd like some farts, if possible there, Ted. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. That from Gary. Guys,
I'm getting them all, Miles.
Oh my gosh.
Guys,
How much funny when you get to play it.
Yeah. Guys, I turned 57 today, so could you please give me an I just said that? An owl hitting the window and talk all over each other about the joys of being almost 60. Cheers, guys. That from Jim, your loyal Pasco podcaster.
I just said that.
Oh, boy, I'm almost 60.
I'll tell you what, man.
Won't be long for me.
I turned 60. I got some goals.
I just take a Viagra.
I'd like to go to the Mediterranean.
Years ago, man. It's the alternative.
Drink some wine.
You know, when I get up so early in the morning,
Italian people.
enjoy bacon a little bit more.
All right, guys, here we go.
Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you, to you, to you.
Ya's a Dirty Germans, brought to you by Men's Room Original Sausage. Available through Uli's World Famous Sausage, mensroomlive.com, and other fine retailers. Schweinefleisch.
Coming up, we'll drink a toast with a shot of the day, but first we have a little time for Who Sucks Less?
Yeah, we do.
Who sucks less?
Yeah, we do. We got
We do.
Now, the men's room wants to know who sucks less?
Okay, time for Who Sucks Less. Stephen Throhill, you bring us 3 stories from the news each and every week. It is up to us to determine out of the 3 stories which one sucks the least.
Yes, indeed. And we're calling this edition Who's Who. So we have a daughter dealing with her father. We have a man dealing with his brother, and then we just have 2 people that share the same name, except one of them you're familiar with. So let us start in Nevada, where police investigating a 95-year-old man's disappearance made a startling discovery while searching his backyard. And excavating a small portion of the yard, investigators found the man, Bruce Brown, buried in a homemade coffin. Now, keep in mind, the investigation began in April when detectives learned that he had not been heard or seen. All right, so investigators later discovered that Brown's daughter, Janice Walker, had been living off of his Social Security and VA benefits. Now, detectives, they had to go to Kansas City, Missouri to interview her, but she refused to cooperate. Always a good sign. So she was arrested on a warrant for larceny related to stolen benefits. She's not yet facing any charges related to her father's death or burial. Deputies returned to Nevada, where they conducted a search warrant on a home. And that's where they found the father's body. Now, an autopsy positively identified the remains as her father. The press release did not give any cause or manner of death. So right now, she's not being charged with murder, but it seems suspicious to them that her father disappeared. And then next thing you know, she's living off of his medical benefits. I think we know what happened. Now we go to Portland, Maine, where an 86-year-old man, this dude is 86 years old. He's accused of assuming his brother's identity decades ago and using it to double dip on Social Security benefits. While he's been convicted of several charges, he was caught by facial recognition technology that matched the same face to 2 different identities. So Napoleon Gonzalez, he assumed the identity of his brother back in 1965, a quarter century after his sibling's death as an infant. But he used a stolen identity to obtain Social Security benefits under both identities, multiple passports, and state identification cards. So a district jury in Bangor, Maine, they convicted him of mail fraud, Social Security fraud, passport fraud, and identity theft. Mail fraud, by the way, carries the greatest potential prison sentence, up to 20 years. Now, Gonzalez's benefits, they were previously investigated by the Social Security Administration back in 2010 for potential fraud, but his benefits were upheld. Well, a new investigation, which launched 10 years later in 2020 after the facial identification software indicated that Gonzalez's face was on 2 state identification cards. So when confronted, he claimed that he took his deceased brother's identity at the direction of the Air Force's Office of Special Investigation while participating in an undercover operation in the 1960s. Let me just say that again. He, and I'm not saying he's wrong, but he told the authorities, the Air Force told me to do this. I was part of an undercover operation back in the 1960s. Well, he later admitted to faking his own death under his own identity and continuing with his brother's identity. Sentencing date has not been yet set for him, so he still remains free. And his lawyers arguing, hey, I'm not saying that he didn't do all this stuff. He's 86. If you put him in jail, he's going to die there. And they're like, hey, if you commit crimes and you get caught, that's what happens. And now, that's all. Yeah, he's 86. Been getting away with it forever. Whatever. So this is not exactly stealing an identity, but you're kind of preventing one in this case. So we understand celebrities need to protect their names, but these kinds of situations, they just don't feel right. So Katy Perry, she's been fighting in court for years against an Australian woman who has almost the exact same name. Her name is also Katy Perry, but she spells it Katie with the IE. And she owns a small clothing business. She owns her own small clothing business in her home country. Well, American Katy tried to shut her down or force her to change her name all the way back in 2009. Keep in mind how long this woman has had her clothing line. Yeah. Katy Perry popped onto the scene after this one. Again, it's a small clothing line, just Australia, but Katy Perry, the one we know, popped onto the scene after the fact and is trying to go after her, for copyright infringement, all the rest of this. So Australian Katy has been dealing with all the chaos ever since. She thought it was over when the Australian federal court sided with her, but American Katy, she just won't let it go. She just filed an appeal. So Australian Katy says, quote, "Not only have I fought for myself, but I fought for my small business in this country. This is a case that I thought had an end in sight, and yet the singer has chosen to continue to drag it out. My label is my future, my dream, my livelihood, and now there's a chance my trademark can be taken away. Just because your name is the same as someone else's, et cetera, et cetera." So again, we have the daughter who we cannot legally say she murdered her father. It looks like that. But anyway, her father was found in a homemade coffin, buried in his own backyard, and she has been living off of his benefits since his disappearance in April. We have the man in Portland, Maine, who's 86 years old, but he assumed his brother's identity as well as keeping his own for however many decades that adds up to, collecting Social Security benefits from both. And then we have super rich Katy Perry that we know of trying to sue another woman named Katy Perry who's had her company longer than Katy Perry, has been a famous singer because her company is Katy Perry.
I think Katy Perry might suck the most in this.
Well, there's a woman with a dad buried in the backyard in a box.
They have not proven it yet, but we know.
I'm going to just assume that the two are related since she's taking the benefits.
I would think
I
they
think
are.
that one sucks the most, but I don't disagree that Katy Perry sucks. Not the one in Australia.
Right, the singer, like, what the hell?
What, you spell them different, and this woman, her name is Katy Perry. She's in Australia. Her clothing line has been around longer than you have been someone that we know of.
Correct.
I would feel like Australian Katy Perry would have more of a case to say, can you change your name? Because it's confusing people to the products that maybe I make available, but whatever.
Right, it's not like, it'd be different if, say, I had a son, named him Ralph Lauren Smith, and then was like, stop saying Smith, start a clothing line under your name, Ralph Lauren.
Ralph Lauren Smith. You got a plan there, Ted. I see millions.
It's my get-rich scheme.
Yeah.
Ladies, any takers?
I guess Katy Perry sucks the least in all three scenarios. Well, you're embezzling from the government.
Yeah, one guy's embezzling and has been taking advantage of
for
his
a
dead
long
brother.
time.
The woman
Correct.
presumably killed her father, but even if she did not murder him, despite of him being buried in a homemade coffin in his own backyard, she's taking advantage of his benefits, including VA benefit. Like, he earned that. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So Katy Perry, as much as you just want to bitch slap her in the face, it's like, no one is dead. No one had to die for you to be a turbo bitch. You're just a bitch.
I guess the Katy Perry thing just annoys me. Is this woman still alive and trying to make money?
She's got to pay all the legal fees.
And she's what's that?
She has to pay all the legal fees.
Right, and she's had this business. Correct. Like, if the daughter is just stashing the body, it's still terrible.
But the body's dead.
Right.
I mean, like he died of natural causes. And
yeah. But I don't know. Like, look, I don't like anybody scamming the government for benefits and everything. But I think I might just take the old dude that assumed his brother's identity for Social Security, because that just, I don't know, that seems like less money.
Hopefully they get some of it back.
Whereas, like, the daughter's still getting the VA benefits, like you said.
It is less money, because one of the things they did point out in this article, the 86-year-old guy who's been using his deceased infant brother's identity since 1965, they did point out it would cost more to pay for his ass to be in jail than the amount of money he's made in the benefits.
Okay. All right, either way. There you go on Who Sucks Last. Coming up, we'll drink and toast with the shot of the day. You are listening to The Men's Room.
You say you'll never join the Navy. Never track storms in the Atlantic. Or skydive as part of your commute. Joining the Navy sounds crazy. Saying never actually is. Learn why at Navy.com. America's Navy. Forged by the sea.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Coming up, we'll drink a toast with the shot of the day. And we do have your headlines on the way at 5:50. But first, quick check out with Mike Hogg and some of the stories and headlines he is not working on. And since Mike is not here, he is honestly not working on any of these stories. This man was locked up for...
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's Mike Hogg.
Montgomery.
This man was locked up for assaults with a delicious weapon. A 23-year-old man of Florida arrested after assaulting a couple at a Walgreens on Monday morning. He went into Walgreens at about 1:20 because he wanted cigarettes. The workers refused and told him to leave. It is unclear why he was denied, but he was in fact hammered, so that probably had something to do with it. The guy was then furious and started throwing Snickers bars at all the employees. He struck a female worker in the face. A male worker was hit in the chest. Neither employee was injured by the Snickers bars. Man was charged with 2 counts of misdemeanor battery and later released after posting $1,000 bond.
Where was he at?
He was in Florida.
But I mean, he was just at a convenience store?
He was at a Walgreens.
Trying to buy
cigarettes. 1 o'clock in the morning. Good times.
Candy bars. And don't waste the Snickers.
There's a lot of really bad candy that's worth throwing. They're not it.
I would have thrown in like an Almond Joy.
They would have arrested him.
You might have heard about kids who accidentally order something by picking up the parent's phone, button mashing or whatever, but this is more extreme than that. A father shared a video on TikTok showing how his 5-year-old son ordered almost $1,000 worth of stuff on Amazon by just asking Alexa to have the stuff added to his cart. Now, most of it was toys, but he also asked for a hot tub, and a $500 hot tub got ordered. It could have been a lot worse because he was asking for multiple things like 112 water slides and potentially expensive stuff like a rocket ship that goes 5 trillion miles an hour and 5 trillion feet off the ground. The dad shared this tip. Parents, make sure you disable voice purchases on your Alexa so this does not happen to you. It sounds like the father did in fact get a refund because he said he regrets not keeping the hot tub every single day.
Yeah, my kids wanted to get an Alexa. I'm like, there's no chance.
Yeah. Someone get Kevin Bacon on the horn.
Kids like eventually it's got to get to a point. They just assume everybody has that.
Oh, they do. I mean, I've had my kids' friends walking to the house, and they're just yelling to the ether, and I'm like, we don't have that, man.
Yeah, right? Because like people that have them, like everybody just kind of does it.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not getting one.
It's still the toughest is drunk people at a party.
Oh, God. Yeah, that'd be worse than kids. Hey, Alexa.
Yeah. Alexa. Right, it's like trust the queue. Put it in the queue.
Someone get Kevin Bacon on the horn for this one, and no excuses. A study found we all really do know someone who knows 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 him. 6 degrees of separation is the claim that anyone on Earth is no more than 6 social connections away from anyone else. A group of mathematicians just found that 6 really is the sweet spot in number. They found every new friend you add comes with an upside and a downside. The upside, your social network expands, but at some point, adding new friends weakens your other connections and old friends start failing away or falling away. In other words, there is an equilibrium, and they found the 6-degree pattern kept popping up. Quote, we did the math, we discovered an amazing result. This process always ends with social paths centered around the number 6. They say it doesn't just apply to people, though. For example, it can also work with viruses like COVID. Quote, within 6 infection cycles, a virus can cross the globe. Huh. Believe it or not. Okay.
Across the globe?
With 6 infectious cycles.
Oh, the infection.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, my bad. I'm like, I have a hard time thinking I know somebody that knows a random Ted Smith in China.
Here's a good one for you. Metallica got a furry 4-legged visitor during one of their LA shows at SoFi Stadium. A dog named Storm snuck out of her home nearby and somehow got in the stadium all by herself. There is a photo of Storm sitting in a row in a seat just watching the show intently. There was some concern that someone had brought their dog with them into the show, but the band says that is not the case. But in an Instagram post from Metallica, quote, she had a great time listening to her favorite songs, including Barks Externa,
oh boy,
Master of Puppies, and The Mailman That Never Comes. And in case you're wondering, no, you definitely should not bring your furry friends to a concert, but this dog sure did have her day. Storm was safely reunited with her family the very next day after checking out the 2.5-hour Metallica show.
I wonder if the family, like, they're really smart, man. They put a small recording device on the dog's collar. Because one thing we know to be true, oh, look at the cute dog snuck into a Metallica show. They're not going to kick you out. If we do it, they throw you out. Seriously, I'd put like I'd have the bootleg album of that concert. Thanks to my dog.
How does a dog sneak into a venue
and just sits in the seat the entire time?
It's one thing to
it's not like it's a stray, right? It has a family.
He lives next door. It just snuck in to watch the show, sat there the entire time. When everybody left, the dog left too.
And what city was this in?
This was in L.A. at SoFi. And that is a brand new stadium.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know, but it's hard to sneak stuff in the stadiums anymore. I just feel like somebody working the gate should have been like...
I think the dog got in during the day. With
he hung out?
Or whatever, and just kind of smelled some food going or whatever. Then
Or also, they're really fast. So if I'm working security outside and it gets by me, I can radio to the guy inside. But like if I radio to you, say, hey, man, keep your eye out on the dog. Your question would be like, what do you want me to do? If the dog's going to run away from me, I'm not going to catch it.
Yep.
I mean, maybe this dog's just that smart. And like somehow likes Metallica and was like, I'll just walk in with somebody.
I think the dog's a metalhead.
Right.
More music news. Nirvana's harp-shaped box is opening back up to share more music with fans. On Tuesday, Geffen announced the band's third and final album, In Utero, will be re-released for its 30th anniversary later this month in several new editions with unreleased songs and photos. Originally released in 1993 as a 12-track album, In Utero, now the body of work will be reissued in several different formats. Vinyl, all the different crap, right? Each super deluxe version features 72 tracks in total.
Jeez.
Including 53 unreleased tracks comprised of 2 live shows in the In Utero tour. 1993's live in Los Angeles and 1994's live in Seattle, the band's final hometown show. Also music from 6 other live performances around the same time in Rome, Italy, Springfield, Massachusetts, and New York.
Does that mean they didn't want them on the album, or like the record label said you can only have this many?
I think they are live versions that have never been released on some of the tracks that you want to know,
right.
but I think there's certain songs they perform live that have never made it to an album or have never been released.
But, you know, most of the artists we've talked to, I haven't heard any of them yet say the label told us not to put this on the record. They get a lot of, no, we're releasing this one as a single. But I feel like most bands are like, man, we pick the songs we want. You know, you go through all this kind of thought. Sometimes we have 27 songs, but just do 12 because the other 15 you're not sure kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess. And look, I'm sure if you're a super Nirvana fan, that's awesome. I feel like sometimes when somebody's already gone and they re-release stuff, it's not always the best.
Well, and that comes into play a lot. So a lot of times when someone dies, if it goes to the estate, a lot of times the estate gets into a conflict with the label saying, look, this artist wrote these songs and chose not to release them because they didn't feel it was a good representation of their best work. And the label's like, yeah, we don't care, so to make a lot of money. So you do get that argument a lot. But in this case, I don't, because remember, this thing used to be between, basically Dave Grohl, Courtney Love, and Chris Novoselic, right? Because they went through all this about who owns the rights and all that. So I'm assuming all of that got worked out, and that's why they can do this now. Yeah, I don't know.
Some quick hits for you. You might remember this kid from a few months back, a JV football player in Michigan named Eric Kilburn Jr. He's 14 years old. He was already 6'10" and could not find cleats because he's a size 23. So earlier this year, Puma and Under Armour both offered to help him by making custom shoes. 4 pairs of cleats, 2 pairs of training shoes. He recently got to try them on his first scrimmage this season. Now he's also getting some custom basketball shoes for when football season is done and basketball starts up. A couple in Cleveland.
That's very hard to do. I went to high school with a guy, James Edgerton, that had monster feet, and it was impossible. And he literally had to go to Reebok or Nike in special order, and
that can't be cheap.
No, and he wore a 20 or just something crazy.
Man. Couple in Cleveland named Sierra Blair and Jose Irvin both have the same birthday, August 18th, and they just had twins, also born on August 18th.
My brother's birthday, August 18th.
Sarah was scheduled for a C-section on the 17th, but they thought it would be fun for all 4 family members that they could celebrate birthdays on the same day every year. So doctors waited and did the C-section just after midnight.
The kids will appreciate it when they get older.
Right now, you don't want to share a birthday with anybody.
One, you already have a twin, so you got to split everything, right? Because it's one gift for both of you, which is not how gifts work. And then also your parents are going to steal part of your thunder because it's their birthdays too.
I also just wouldn't want to have that.
What, as a parent you're saying, or a kid?
Obviously
as a kid.
Obviously as a kid I wouldn't, but even as a parent, because at that point the kids' birthdays take over.
Absolutely.
But it'd still be nice to just be like, well, it is my birthday too. Just leave me alone.
Well, maybe, it wouldn't be bad to get a Barbie cake for everybody.
Not go to the bar with my friends or have a nice romantic. Leave me alone.
Now you're going to Chuck E. Cheese on this one. An 81-year-old Army vet.
Somebody online hating on Chuck E. Cheese.
Really?
What was their beef?
They were it was I can't believe people still take their kids there. I'm like, Chuck E. Cheese is great.
Yeah, it's for kids. We don't worry about it.
81-year-old Army vet named Larry Taylor got the Medal of Honor at the White House yesterday. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. Back in 1968, He disobeyed a direct order and risked his life to save a 4-man recon team that got surrounded with no ammo. They had to hang on to the bottom of his helicopter while he flew up to 1,500 feet to get them out. They were dangling from this thing. He dropped in, pulled their asses out. Only one of those men he saved is still alive. Retired Army Ranger David Hill. He did not get to meet Captain Taylor and thank him in person until 31 years later. Really? Now, this guy, David Hill, he's been pushing for this guy to get the Medal of Honor for years for saving his life. And yesterday, Larry Taylor picked it up at the White House.
Nice.
Why did they not give it to him forever?
Probably
because he disobeyed orders.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's like my dad couldn't get a Purple Heart. It took like 30-some years or something.
Wow.
Because he got injured in Cambodia. But technically, we weren't in Cambodia.
All right, we weren't there. Therefore, can I give you the Purple Heart?
Right? It's like, well, he's got the scar.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have a 5-year plan or more? The average American now has a plan 12 years ahead of time.
12
For what?
years?
I don't know. Paying off your mortgage, retirements, changing careers. I don't know.
I mean,
staying at
mortgage
the same job.
and retirement, I feel like kind of built in. Like, you know when you're going to pay off your mortgage because that's the deal you sign. Retirement, I get the feeling you'll adjust it over and over again. But you have kind of a target age. But, man, I don't know that I have a 12-year plan for. My 12-year plan was when the kids started kindergarten, like, make sure you're done in 12 years.
Mm-hmm. Get them through college, maybe. I don't know.
That's a 16-year plan, bro.
That's right. A man in Florida was arrested for driving around in a stolen Mercedes after boasting on social media about having a brand new Mercedes.
Why?
He was busted and arrested.
That's pretty wild.
And stupid.
You shouldn't have put it up on
Social
Facebook
media.
so everyone could see the car that was already known as stolen, the color.
And the comments that probably coming from your friends, like, how the hell did you afford
It
that?
was the license plate that busted him.
Oh, my God.
He took a picture of his license plate. It was not his license plate. He stole the car.
I mean, number one, right, if it's public, anybody can see it. But number two, I have a feeling if you're in the business of stealing cars, some of your friends don't like you for some reason, whether it's another business dealing or whatever, like they'd be quick to drop the dime on you.
Are you guys any good at shooting a bow and arrow, archery?
I have never done it.
Okay. I've done it, but I've
been a long time.
Ago,
I mean, I'd have to take a refresher course on that one for a while.
All right.
But this is kind of wild. The city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, is looking for archers to help deal with the deer population crisis in parks around the city. They're looking for archers to come and shoot the deer. They don't want guns being used in the city parks. But they're saying,
arrows.
If you have a bow and arrow, you can take the deer home, and even if it's out of season, you can gut it, take it to the butcher.
Is that a paid gig?
No, it's not a paid gig. But I mean, you do get
so-
to hunt out of season, and you do get to keep the
So
deer.
basically, if you like to bow hunt, here's a place to do it.
Right,
I mean,
in
it's not
a
like-
city park.
It's not like arrows don't miss, though.
True.
They don't, but they're not as dangerous as bullets, I think, especially with a high-powered rifle.
No. Well, you're right. I don't know.
Hopefully, you're a pretty good shot. You know, you've got a dart and bow or something. You're not just out there like with a toy.
I'm just picturing sitting on a park bench drinking a beer. Right. And it's like, did I just get shot with an arrow? Like, what year is it?
New study has found the best place to retire. That is
I don't know.
Tampa, Florida.
Really?
Oh, of course it's Florida.
I mean, they almost really got blasted by a hurricane. Worst place, by the way, Stockton, California. That is just a little bit south.
poor
of Sacramento.
Stockton just is.
If it's a bad list, they're like the Mississippi of cities.
Yeah.
If it's bad, Stockton was a Pearl City, Honolulu, or a Pearl City, Hawaii, right?
Yep.
Like, for whatever reason, they're just the worst.
Exactly.
I mean, the only thing I know about Stockton is it is tough people.
Oh, it's got to be.
I'm going to look it up now.
All right, we got your headlines coming up at 5:50. In the meantime, let's get a contestant on the line for Profile This at 206-803-ROCK. All right, have we made it to drinking time?
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the men's room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Steve Throwhill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. Today, we toast Claude. Claude, by the way, is a koala bear in New South Wales, Australia. Now, New South Wales, Australia is also home to a man named Humphrey Harrington. And Humphrey Harrington is a man who specializes in seedlings for conservationists and conservation projects. He's been doing this for over 20 years, and in that time, he's provided seedlings for the World Wildlife Fund and the Bangalore Koala Project, which has the goal of planting 500,000 trees by the end of 2025. And thanks to this guy, Humphrey, they've been able to plant 90,000 trees a year. Damn. For the last few years. And a lot of these trees, actually specifically for koala habitat that they're building. And as admirable as all that is, hundreds of seedlings disappeared over the last few weeks, $6,000 worth of product. And finally, Humphrey found a culprit. It was Claude the koala bear. He'd been escaping from the enclosure about 100 yards away and eating all the seedlings a little bit each night. Wow. So they're like, dude, we're trying to plant these trees for you. Claude's like, nah, dog, I'm eating them now. Mm-hmm. He had no idea. They couldn't figure it out. They set up surveillance cameras, and somehow this koala evaded that. This guy, Humphrey, physically, as he says, found the koala, wrapped her on a pole, eating all of these seedlings. He's like, dude, I lost money on this. Also, you know, we give this stuff to conservationists, the World Wildlife Fund. They do stuff with this internationally, and Claude's just like, this is a yummy S. So, yeah, here's to Claude for...
Koalas just don't give an F.
They just like, I'm riddled with chlamydia. Suck
Right,
it.
they all have chlamydia. They look cute, but they're mean.
That's what I've heard, that they're just mean and nasty.
Yeah, and that guy's just like, screw it. I know you're trying to help me, but I want to eat them... I don't know.
Eat them young. It's like eating eggs versus chicken. And maybe it's just me. But koala bears, when I look at them, as far as comparing them to a human, I feel like they kind of look like Danny DeVito. A little. Yeah, I'm just saying, take a good look at a koala. You're like, if Danny DeVito were an animal, he'd be a koala. Same height and everything. So we pour this booze, and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bichola.
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Hey, Steven Throhill, could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, who is this? Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hey, Drew, it's Justin.
Justin. Hi, Justin. You understand how this here game is played?
Hey, sure do.
All right, man. You got your choice of one of three stories. Today we have The Wonderful World of Drugs. We have Bite Me. In other words, what did somebody find in their food? And finally, Animalize This, where you guess the animal responsible for causing the problem.
You know, in spirit of Mike, let's go ahead and do Animalize This.
Spirit of All right, we go to jolly old England here, where this incident happened in the Brixington area of Exmouth. I'm sure you know exactly where that is, so I won't bother to explain. But a local that lives close to a bus stop spotted an animal trying to climb aboard a local bus, a double-decker bus, if anyone cares. Now, the animal was seen being guided by two people wearing the high-visibility jackets. One was seen taking pictures of the animal that was trying to clamber on board. As members of the public climbed out of the bus and tried to calm the animal and call for help, a single-decker bus passed and loaded the animal on board for safety. Now, another passing driver said, quote, "We got close to the animal and a Cardiff bus had stopped. The police arrived and we were all a bit flummoxed about what to do, to be honest. So the Cardiff bus driver said, why don't we just put him on the bus? And we really couldn't see any other option. We popped the accessibility ramp down on the bus and I just walked the animal on the bus. And he seemed quite happy. Now, passersby, they snapped photos of the animal on board the bus as it was driven to a bus stop at a nearby hospital where it was reunited with its owner. So again, an animal tries to get on the bus. They don't want it to get on the bus. So another bus pulls up. They put it on that bus. That bus takes the animal next to a hospital, and there's the owner waiting for it. The question is, what was the animal that rides the bus? Was it, as Miles has witnessed, a dog? Was it a goat? Was it a pig? Or was it a pony? So dog, goat, pig, or pony?
And where was this?
This is over in England.
Justin, I'm going to go pig.
You know, potbelly pig? Yeah, sure.
I just think if they load the ramp down, this is a big animal that's not very nimble. So it might not even be potbelly. It might be full-blown pig.
Yeah.
Oh, full-blown pig. Okay. Chad, you know that neck of the woods. What are you thinking there?
I'm thinking pony, just based on size.
Okay.
So I feel like a dog, a goat, or a pig, I could get onto a bus. But a pony, that's going to be tough, dude.
All right, Justin, what are you thinking? Dog, goat, pig, or pony?
Miles, I'm going to go with you.
Going pig. Let's go Hagen.
Yes, sir.
All right, what got on the bus there? Was it a dog, a goat, a pig, or a pony? We'll find out next.
That was a tease.
Dealing with an accident and injury claim can be overwhelming. Let Phillips Law Firm fight for you. We understand the pain and suffering, and we're here to guide you through. Call 1-800-JUSTICE today for a free case review, or visit justiceforyou.com and let Phillips Law Firm help you on the road to recovery.
Therapy is known to be extremely helpful. But have you ever tried eavesdropping on someone else's problems? Listen to the new podcast, Say More with Dr. Sheila, starring Amy Poehler as the world-renowned self-proclaimed couples therapist.
It's funny. As I was making the appointment to come today.
I'm sorry, I made the appointment.
I made the
I booked the appointment.
Listen to Say More with Dr. Sheila on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Categories analyzed this on Profilers. We got a man over in UK spotted an animal trying to board a double-decker bus. They tried to help the animal, but another bus came along that was just a single-level bus.
Yeah.
They were able to load the animal on him. It was reunited with its owner later. Question is, what was this random animal that was trying to get on a double-decker bus? A dog, a goat, a pig, or a pony?
And Justin, that is the very question we asked you. Let us start with Miles Montgomery, which is who you agreed with, and you went pig.
Not a pig.
Afraid it was not a pig riding the bus. Ted, you went pony, just said it's big.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It was a pony.
And I think horses, I know cows have something about walking up and down stairs.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with ponies, but yeah, they put down the handicap accessible ramp. I just think it's crazy because they showed a picture of it trying to get on the original bus. It's a big-ass animal. And, I mean, it was halfway in, and the people are like, no, you can't ride the bus. Not without paying the fare. But the fact that the other bus is pulled by, and he's like, yeah, man, just put him on here. It's cool. I'll drop him off at the hospital.
I've got my Orca card. And then they found the owner. Now, for all TV news all the time, it is time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
Almost forgot to on the other side here. Let's see. I will start with a little bit of watching stuff last night. I did watch I talk about it every year. I do enjoy Hard Knocks, right? And it's kind of like
Jets, correct?
It is the Jets,
right? Okay.
And when you watched it at first, like their coach Robert Saleh, I don't like anything about the Niners, but as a Hawks fan, but I always liked him. You can like players. I like Kittle
because he's enthusiastic about the game, and you could tell, right?
Yeah, but. And I said when I first started watching it, it almost made you like Aaron Rodgers a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But now as it's gone on, I'm like, I don't know. I was very confident that I was like, they might actually be good. Now I'm like, I don't know if they are.
What made you change your mind?
Because Saleh treats him like just completely different, which is fine, right? Like superstars are always going to get different treatment.
Sure.
I fathom that. But, it's almost like a buddy-buddy, if not, as opposed to coach-player relationship.
Okay.
And you see that right now with Sean Payton kind of saying stuff to Russell Wilson.
Oh, Sean Payton ain't messing around.
He is not. That'll be interesting. I mean, look, those are two interesting teams just to see what happens to them.
Right.
It was also, it's hard to watch, but also my favorite part of Hard Knocks, and this year they kind of got away from it because it was so Aaron Rodgers focused, but, those guys, those fringe players.
Getting cut. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you just, even I almost forget, you know what I mean? There's only 53. And what is there, 30 teams?
32.
32 now, right. So it's there's not a ton of roster spots. There's hundreds of thousands of kids that play high school football. I mean, I don't know how many thousands play college, but it's just, you realize, we all look at it as fun and stuff, but it's this, number one, they don't want to stop playing. But number two, this is their livelihood.
It's been their whole life. It's been their whole life.
You don't want to stop playing. And, a lot of jobs that you may or may not get, you probably have not put in the amount of work and effort that they have. And I mean, like, for the last 12 to 15 years.
The good news is a lot of them get signed to the practice squad. A lot of them get picked up by other teams. Some end up playing in Canada for a year or two. Some now can play in the XFL or the USFL.
That helps.
It's not the NFL, though. That's where you want to be.
Your goal is the NFL.
It's not
right.
the Corn
You
Ferry
want to
Tour.
make that
you want to be on the
53.
PGA Tour.
And it is kind of nice that they've changed the rules a little bit. I think the pandemic changed the rules. Because I want to say it used to be the practice squad. You had to be like a rookie or a second-year player.
Something like
now it's like you can keep guys on your practice squad who already have years in the league.
Yep.
Which is kind of nice, too. Because there's one guy, the guy that mispronounced charcuterie board. You like him, and you want him to do well. And he got cut, and then they brought him back to the practice squad. So you're like, cool. Also kind of interesting, they go to Broadway. And I get it, you're in New York. But we always make fun of musicals and everything. But I have seen Book of Mormon, which was super funny. But, they went to a musical, and it was just about Michael Jackson and his music.
Yeah. I remember commercials or reading about something about that, yeah.
Yeah, so I just started thinking about musicals. I was like, I'm not a big musical guy, but, if it's just Michael Jackson music, I'd go see that musical.
I can live with that because I know him for his music.
They spin it well, like Jersey Boys. That was a great musical.
And what's that, Billy Joel?
That's Frankie Valli in the
Frankie
Four
Valli.
Seasons. But it was just kind of told their story about them growing up together and becoming famous, and now they're stars. And
would you watch it again?
I would not go see a musical twice, but all things considered, it was better than Rock of Ages or some of the others that I've seen.
Yeah, you said that really sucked. But you had higher expectations based on what it's supposed to be.
Well, the music is more in my wheelhouse than...
Right.
But I realized, okay, Frankie Valli, Grease, all this stuff, not bad. The music is tolerable. A lot of people said that with the ABBA thing. Oh, God, I'm spacing.
Mamma Mia?
Mamma Mia. If you like ABBA music, that's it's not going to be bad.
Yeah, and I mean, I've said this before, me and my brother are the only males in the Smith family that aren't into musicals. My dad loved them. Right. Granted, he did stuff in theater and everything, but yeah, I mean, I have my uncles and stuff. They go to New York, they go to Broadway every year, once a year, and go watch shows.
People do it in Vegas all the time, too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good
I feel
shows.
like when you say you did it in Vegas, somehow you get more of a pass.
Oh, see, I think I'd give more of a pass for being you're actually on Broadway.
Yeah. I mean, a guy like me, if I go, I was in Vegas, and the wife,
typically
drag me to see so-and-so, you're like, all right, man, but you're in Vegas.
Typically, Broadway has their A-list performers.
Yeah, for sure.
So they go on the road, not saying some of them go, not all of them go. So the number one person that you hired on to be this actor or this part in the play, they're typically the best on Broadway. And then
correct.
Not that touring tours don't put on great shows. But when you're on Broadway, man, back to the 53-man roster.
Yeah, right.
Those are the guys that earn those spots.
Yeah, that's the spot you want to be. I think Hamilton was one of the few exceptions. When they took that on the road, I think that whole cast actually went on the road. Do you remember before you fell asleep was
bro
Lin Manuel?
Lin-Manuel?
No, there's something else.
It's a three-name name, right? I'll be honest with you, man. I don't know. I hope he was, so I can just, put that feather in my cap. It was what it was. It was fine. It's just not for me. But I could not tell you if he was there or not. I really don't know. And I was there through the whole thing. I don't know. I even know what he looks like, so it's not that, but I do not remember by physically. So we had decent seats and everything, I just, no idea, man.
Yeah, and I will say, it's also just kind of funny, and granted, you're stereotyping about males and this and that.
Yeah.
But it is funny just to see giant football players at musicals. And, some of them really like them. A couple of them had no idea what was going on. But, yeah, and then, of course, afterwards, the cast is oh, can we meet some of the Jets and everything? But it seemed like a good team-building experience or whatever.
Sure.
Obviously, our work environment's different, but whether it's, professional football players, my brother's an administrator. He just did it. He took all his teachers to, a Nationals game last week.
That's cool.
So it's kind of good to have those outings, too. And especially, I don't know, you're in camp. All you're really doing is football.
Over and over.
It's let's go out and do something.
By the way, Ted, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda. Thank you, astute listener.
For some reason, I thought it was two quick names. I was going to call him
Lin-Manuel.
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 But I just shortened his middle name, Manuel.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
It's amazing how many of these guys do get a chance to see some of the sights of the cities they go to. I know we saw some Tampa Bay Buccaneer players when we were in Germany. Saw them at the end of the thing. When I was in the last time the Ravens played the Seahawks in Baltimore, I went to the 9/11 Museum and Memorial at the World Trade Center in Baltimore. And who's the first person I see when I go upstairs? Coach Carroll. And I'm just thinking to myself,
some of that makes sense.
It does make sense, but at the same time,
you don't expect it.
This is not when you go up and say, "Hey, Coach, how are you?"
Right.
It's a 9/11 memorial. It's somber. It's quiet.
That's probably why he did it. Like, no one will mess with me.
It is heavy. It is not the equivalent of the one in New York, but it is still, it's a pretty powerful place. And, that's not where you're going to go, like, "Coach, how's it going, man? I'm from Seattle, too."
Right.
But I'm rooting for the Ravens, baby.
That's a good call.
What do you think the worst city is in that case? It would have to be Green Bay. As far as, hey, guys, we're going to go out and see what the city offers. Right? We can make fun of Cleveland, Cincinnati. Do you think?
I bet you are. Just based on the size of the hotel. You're probably staying in a Renaissance.
But,
Milwaukee.
Green Bay is still, I want to say it's still like 2 hours.
Oh, is it?
So
then that far?
I was kind of, because when
Is Madison closer? I don't know. I don't know Wisconsin very well.
You know what? You might have to look that up. But I like the bar we were in, a great bar in Milwaukee, like a sports bar called Stenny's. And they had a sign that said, like the shuttle leaves for Green Bay. But I felt like it was still like 90 minutes or 2 hours.
Boy, look, it's a storied franchise, but just like, oh, man, I got to live here during the season.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Look, you talk about the cities you live in and stuff. Even, Jesus, his name is blanking right now. Was a running back. They just got him. I want to say he was playing in Minnesota.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Cook?
Yeah. Right, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Is it Delvin or Dalvin?
Dalvin, I believe.
Dalvin. So, it was funny. When he gets, he's just kind of showed up and he's practicing, and they were like, "How's it been?" And he's like, "Well, I spent all the, however many years in Minnesota." And he's like, "So I really only know that organization." Then he's like, "This is New York City."
Right. It's a big place.
It's right. And I tell people all the time, people are like, "Oh, you're from the East Coast. Like, is DC like New York?" It's like, no.
Nothing.
And DC's a major city. But again, New York is so much different. So, for him, he's like, "Yeah, I've been in Minneapolis. This is kind of weird for me being in New York City."
Yeah, New York is.
I think it'd be weird for anybody.
If you have not been to New York or you haven't been there for years and you go there and this is where you're going to live, definitely going to be an adjustment.
Yeah, and also you got to realize that, whether it's, Seattle, D.C., Baltimore, when you're talking about going from one side of the city to the other, it might be a pain in the butt, but you do it. When you're in New York City, when you talk about going from one borough to the other one or going out to Queens or whatever, you're talking hours.
Well, it's funny because one thing you hear a lot about New York City, man, I'm stunned. You'll see paparazzi photos of celebrities on the subway. Man, I can't believe they take the subway. It's like, brother, if you need to get somewhere on time, this is not a joke. That is your best bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they'll show all these different people, and it's like, right, one, in New York City, natives don't get so excited to see celebrities because they're surrounded by it all the time. Everything's filmed there, blah, blah, blah. But, you take the train if you have a time that you need to be somewhere.
Correct. All right, so Bill Maher, we all know him.
Mm-hmm.
Miles and I used to be pretty religious watchers of Real Time with Bill Maher. And we always said, I like the show. He seems like a swarmy kind of jerk.
Yeah.
And then over the years, I just kind of fell off with that. Miles, didn't you say you saw him in person?
I saw him at the Paramount. He did a show, and it was okay.
Yeah.
It was just okay. So... just sometimes his points of view, I just don't agree with where he's going.
Sure.
And there's no joke to it. So it's just sometimes
you're venting as opposed to telling.
Yeah,
I would say
a little
ranting.
mean.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he's at it again. He's got his show called Club Random. And he was talking about the writer's strike, and he said they're asking for a lot of things that are kooky. What I find objectable about the philosophy of the strike, they kind of believe they're owed a living as a writer, and you're not. This is show business. It's a make or miss league. I was like, man, Bill, that's a tough one. Now, granted, he does write on his show, but there's a lot of shows where the writers Like, you don't think they deserve a living? It's like the shows would be crap without the writers.
But the thing, I mean, look, that might be true for an actor. So you can say it's showbiz, and you're like, right, that's true for actors. If you are popular, you're going to make more money and stick around. If you're unpopular, they drop. But the writers, like, if it's something you enjoy, particularly with television, episodic, where people are watching to say, it can be Grey's Anatomy, dumb show, but it's been on for 8,000 years. You go like, yeah, they should make a living off of this.
Well, yeah,
because
that's look, he's on a podcast with his discussion. You're telling me for 1 minute that team of writers doesn't come up with his monologue, have his skits, have his jokes, have his bits? I mean, I've seen him do stand-up. It is not nearly as good as this show. So I don't know if he writes his own stuff when he does stand-up, because the TV...
He has writers, and then he's one of them, as he said that. But he also mentions that he's like, I think it's a bad time to strike because there's all these streamers and everything, and they could get content from there. And I also think, number one, whenever you're on strike, you're always going to have people like this who tell you why you shouldn't be,
of course,
and why it's a bad idea, and you don't deserve this. But number two, he sounds like a lot of older people in these industries. It's like, well, I made it, so.
Right. Also,
Screw
HBO,
you.
technically probably the first official streaming service, and that is what's been carrying his show for all these years.
Yeah.
When you look at it, though, because you could always on demand on HBO. You did some shows, yes, you had to wait for the next episode to come out. But
those are the shows that had writers like Sopranos.
If you wanted to watch every single episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm from the very beginning, or go back and watch Sex and the City, or go back and watch The Sopranos, HBO was the first one you could do that and watch it at any time and binge watch the entire season.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Sopranos. That's a perfect example, right? As good as that show was, James Gandolfini, right? He is Tony Soprano. Now, I'm sure somebody else could have done it, but it's tough to imagine somebody else, another actor, being that guy. I can't imagine him in the writer's room, and I can't imagine one of the writers being like, oh, I'll play Tony this week.
Right.
So it's that's just kind of shocking from Bill Maher. My understanding is, it kind of always worked together, right? You need the writers. I mean, on Friends, there's a famous episode where Joey gets fired from his soap opera job. They write him off because he said something bad about the writers in an interview.
Right. Which the writers wrote because they were tired of hearing it from the members of Friends. So they tried to prove a point by writing that character to do that.
Is that really how it happened?
Yes. Oh, because they were all getting so big that they thought that they should have a different role to keep their integrity. I'm not saying that joke. I'm not saying that line, blah, 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 blah. And the writer's like, no, we create you. You don't create us.
That's funny.
Let's see. TV for tonight. Actually, I forget who emailed me. Thanks for giving me a heads up. I've talked about this show a lot. If you ever watch The Wire or Breaking Bad on Netflix, it's a British crime show called Top Boy. So they've had 3 or 4 seasons. Season 5 is out now. It'll take you a minute with some of the lingo. I recommend starting with the first season where Deshaun's in charge. It'll take a minute, but it is an awesome, just gritty gangster show.
Thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. You are listening to The Men's Room.
Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. The U.S. Coast Guard, they arrest a Florida man trying to run across the Atlantic Ocean in a hamster wheel. Meanwhile, when the groom runs away on the wedding day, it was the father-in-law who made the bride squeal. Seattle ranks high on the list of cities to survive a zombie attack, which is like walking on third if you like crack. It turns out Bob Barker died because he was 99. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's Mike Hawk.
It's a damn lie. It's not Mike Hawk, it's Thurl, but here's your news. Bob Barker's cause of death has finally been revealed. Bob Barker, the longtime host of The Price is Right, as you know, he died last month. They say as a result of Alzheimer's disease. That's according to his death certificate, but wait, there's more. The document says that Barker had been living with the disease for, quote, years. It also cites hypertension, which is high blood pressure. Oh, boy. Hypothyroidism, hyperlipidemia, high cholesterol, and other significant conditions as contributing to Bob Barker's death. And also, he was 99 freaking years old. All right, he died because death was what was left to do.
Right.
He was 99.
He always appeared to be in good shape.
Right.
I mean, his whole life, he always looked good. He was always, on television every day. So
he's 99.
Yeah.
Just say that. We get it. But sticking with celebrities, maybe you think sports analyst, perhaps a coach, or just an endorser, Tom Brady has a new venture post-NFL life. He has a partnership with Delta Airlines. Now, Delta announced a multi-year agreement that they've struck with Tom Brady, making him the new long-term, quote, strategic advisor for their company, which will see him give their employees, their customers, and their stakeholders a piece of his mind on a number of topics. Raise your hand if that's what you thought Tom Brady would be doing. Hello. Anyone? Consultant for Delta Airlines. You didn't see that coming? I didn't.
He's a consultant? He's not just doing commercials?
A consultant.
Huh.
Strategic
Well, he's probably
advisor.
flown a lot.
Well, we'll get to that. Now, Brady, let's see. The CEO, he explained it like this, quote, Delta's people are driven by their commitment to world-class performance, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we want Tom Brady here to continuously improve the situation for our colleagues, customers, and communities. Specifically, Delta says that Brady will assist them in developing/advising on strategic training and teamwork tools for the more than 90,000 employees. He's also going to be the new face of Delta, so yes, you will be seeing him as well when it comes to marketing for the current and prospective ticket buyers. And finally, Delta says that Tom Brady, he's going to be involved in their shared communities. But that's kind of a vague agenda, and nobody knows what that means. Now, as for Tom himself, he's quoted as saying, I'm grateful to be joining the Delta family, a company that I've loved and respected for years. Growing up with a mother who was a flight attendant, which explains part of it, I've always admired the people that make seamless air transportation possible. Throughout my career, my teammates and I flew Delta countless times, which tells me chances are the Patriots have their contract through Delta. Anyway.
I think Robert Kraft, they have their own plane.
They do. They do have their own plane, right? Now, look, it might sound strange, but let's consider some of the other things that have happened with athletes. Former NBA star Dwayne Wade, he's selling mattresses. David Beckham, he sells us Samsung. Lionel Messi, pushing Lay's potato chips. Serena Williams is slinging J.P. Morgan Chase. LeBron James pretends that his ass shops at Walmart. And Shaquille O'Neal, of course, he sells everything from car insurance to pizza to printer ink to Icy Hot. So why not Tom Brady slinging an airline?
I think it's just weird as they hired him. Like, it sounds like they hired him more
consultant.
Right. If he was just doing commercials for Delta,
yeah, I get it.
I go, makes a lot of sense.
I agree. That's what threw me off. I'm like, wait, what? He's a strategic. Okay, hey man, whatever.
Well,
works.
the Seahawks were the official. Delta was the official airline of the Seahawks, correct?
Maybe.
Yes.
And then Russell Wilson had his own deal with Alaska.
With Alaska.
So like, that's why if it's his jersey, then you got pre-boarding or something if you wore it.
Right. But Delta, Delta was all over that stadium in the Seahawks.
Yeah. All right. And then here you go. Great news locally. Yeah, sure. The cost of living is out of control. Crime's on the rise. Guys, surpasses. $1.25 higher than the national average, and homelessness is at a tipping point. But I have great news if you live in the Seattle area. According to a company called Lawn Love, they released a list of 2023's best cities for surviving a zombie apocalypse. Let's face it, it's already September. They should have put this out in January, but I digress. Seattle was ranked 14 out of 200. The city was assigned a hideout ranking of 71, a supply ranking of 42, a protection ranking of 42. It received a total score of 46.7 and a vulnerability rank of 50. The categories consisted of the city's vulnerability, number of hideouts, abundance of supplies, quality of protection, and ease of mobility. There were 30 determining factors. Data was collected on the 200 largest cities in the U.S., and Seattle ranked 14 out of 200. As far as your other Washington cities, Spokane, you ranked 38th. Tacoma, you're 49th. In Vancouver, you're 69th, along with Bellevue at 76.
Nice.
With that, those are your headlines. Thrills out.
See you next time for Big W. The head chef is back with Ted's Meat and Potatoes. Lovely Taryn Daly's up next.
Yes, indeed. It's all but true, but in the meantime, we be all about this bitch for 180 seconds or so. So until then, please, do what you do best, and for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network. Oh, man! A Double Flush production.